Hello? Hello? Hello, everyone. I think... Sorry, I was having some issues with the streaming software. I'm a professional streamer. Alright, hi guys. Alright, make sure y'all can hear me. Say hi in chat if you can hear me. Okay, cool. You can hear me. Cool. Okay. Why did I convert viewers dropping? That's weird. Oh, is it because I'm late? Fuck, it's 'cause I'm late, isn't it? Oh well. Okay. Well, I guess the people who dropped out just get to miss some pulls. Rip them. I'm awake so early. I've been waking up earlier lately. Around like 11 o'clock EST. The alley flash sounds like a sex crime. I like that. The alley flash? Oh, sorry. I'm eating like some green pea snap crisps. Hey, Cleeful. Yo, Cleeful, you wanna hop in a voice chat? Hop into a Mathalos voice channel and I can drag you in if you want. Let me like lean further away from my mic when I chew. Mukbang? When? Lol. I don't know if I could actually handle eating an entire mukbang. I eat a lot, but I don't eat that much. Pretty sure I'd die. Yeah, Alley Flash looks like a neat option for like maybe Kaya or like Bennett as a pure base attack stick.
Let me swipe my credit card and win.
Thanks, Lawson Wolf, for the £5. Early thoughts on Chong Yun? Wink, wink. Not 100. Oh wait, I think I know what you're referring to, and no thoughts currently, but a good cryo claymore user would be interesting. Anyway, okay. Oh, there's Cleeful. One sec, pulling Cleeful over. Hello, Cleeful.
Hi, Jinx. How are you doing?
Good. I'm just mic testing mic. All right, talk again. Mic check.
Okay, mic check, mic check. 1, 2,
Okay,
3.
that looks good. Yeah, you're about my level. Okay, cool. Hey everyone, it's Cleeful. You should subscribe to Cleeful Frames because he does good math stuff and things.
Speaking of, I'm putting out a series of venti videos in the next couple of days.
Yeah, Cleeful's like the OG venti math guy. Like, if you've ever seen the ridiculously big venti spreadsheet comparing weapons and EM breakpoints and shit, that's Cleeful, so.
Yeah.
I'm probably just gonna direct people to your videos in a venti video talking about why he's broken and you should pull for him.
Yeah, I'm splitting it off into 2 videos, because the first video is just going to cover why he's broken, on top of the couple questions such as should you leave him at level 60 out of 70 or level him past that, just due to the whole sucking mechanic.
Yup,
yeah. 20 levels under.
Low.
And then there's the second half, which is EM versus attack/crit build. And I haven't found a way to properly showcase where breakpoints are, because it really varies quite a lot based off level, based off weapon, so on and so forth.
Based on subs, shit like that.
Based on subs, but generally speaking, the more, once you get to a certain point, unless you're specifically doing cheap venti, so you're not investing in his talents beyond, let's say, talent level 4, you're basically trying to cheap out where you can.
Yeah.
And you're only leveling him up, and then depending on the weapon, not even leveling up the weapon. It's very, very effective at giving you the highest DPS increases for the least amount of investment required.
Yep, if you want to run them as like a straight cheap support to just enable your carry.
Yeah. Yeah, but the moment you start investing in him, even if EM still would be a better choice, going attack and crit makes it a much superior option when it comes to, oh, now you want to take him from 70 out of 80 to 80 out of 90, or you want to take him from talent level 6 to talent level 8. It's going to start scaling a lot higher.
Yep, and the thing I like about attack crit venti as opposed to EM venti 2 is just it's more, if you plan on investing in venti, which you should, even if you haven't reached that point yet, it's still going to be better the later you get into investing into him.
Yeah, and then
And
there's
Venti's
the whole...
the best non-carry in the game to invest in, so...
Currently, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second thing going on with all of that is, I don't know if I showed you screenshots yet, but actually, you know what? I think I have the screenshot saved, so I can just send it to you so you can
Cool.
agree with me on what I said. But I've gone a little bit crazy on my streams when building the next venti sheet, because I'm building a 2.0 version that's a lot more well designed, giving more useful information and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the issues that came across with it is I realized that, hey, no matter what you wind up doing, your weapons never truly, like no matter what, a weapon will showcases wind up being better. So a lot of the times, Viridescent Hunt winds up worse than Blackcliff, just due to how stats wind up getting laid out. I've sat down and actually built an artifact optimizer in Sheets. So, where are you? Like, it's a bit big if you want to pull it up on screen real quick or something like that. Okay. But it winds up taking up all that, and then I can customize and pick different total substat distributions and how many rolls total you get, so I can get different amounts. So I can actually see where weapons now stack in terms of DPS, given building optimally fully for one weapon versus another. And generally speaking, it's no longer, oh, one weapon's just always better than another, but instead it becomes, you get tiers where you have one weapon that's just like better than everything else. Then you get 3 or 4 weapons that are the best of the best, but it depends on your stats.
Yeah, and that's like kind of the, I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of the thing about Genshin, right? It's the hashtag it depends.
It's the hashtag it depends.
That's like the next quick video I want to do is just the only golden rule of Genshin is that it depends. There are very few things in this game where it's like, oh no, this is always better than this thing. Like Homa on Hu Tao is, no, this is always better than anything fucking else, basically.
Yes. With Venti, it's Skyward Atlas. Skyward Harp.
Yeah, Skyward Harp is just always better. But even then, it's refinement based.
No, it's not.
I thought R5 stringless started creeping up on R1 harp.
It starts creeping towards it, but based on my optimizer math, even at like 55% quality 3-line artifacts, it's still like 5% worse.
Really?
It does depend-ish, but like once you start going even lower below
I guess the one case where it would be worse is if you can't get a crit damage hat for Venti.
Oh, not even then. It's
really?
Or a crit chance hat. It just depends on your total crit stat distribution.
Okay.
But like if you have no crit subs, then it does wind up falling behind. It's really once you start getting crits that it actually starts coming into play.
The stuff you see on screen is the kind of shit that Cleeful does for characters he maths on, and he's the OG Venti mather. So go subscribe to Cleeful on chat. Cleeful Frames.
Based on initial maths, I haven't done every single artifact quality displacement yet, because the one I focused on was 3 lines 70%, which is high, well invested, but something that people can reasonably achieve. Because 70% artifact quality is achievable, and Venti is one of the ones you would grind to get to that level or beyond.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Windbloom Ode seems to, if you're at about optimal for both of them, be in between stringless R1 and R2.
Gotcha.
Now, it does depend on if you do 2 E's versus 1 E, because typically my rotation I'm using is you go in, you proc E, you proc Q, you wait for the particles, then you dip, so it's really just those damage numbers. So you don't really get the negatives of Ode, where E doesn't get the attack boost, whereas
have they released Ode's fucking...
They've released the stats for all the weapons.
Yeah, you're right.
Including Alley Hunter. They released it on their Twitter.
Oh,
And
they
the
released
funny thing
Ally
is,
Hunter on
Ally
Twitter?
Hunter. The Ally Hunter looks like so long as you keep the stacks up, it is going to be better than stringless.
Neat. Assuming
Now, we're
both are
talking,
one
like,
though.
Assuming both R1 and both R5, it looks like it's scaled. They basically linearly scale. It's Hunter's a couple percentage above Atlas,
I'll
and
look this up
above blah 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 is Hunter is somewhat above. We're talking like 2, 3, maybe 4% above stringless at equal refinements. All
I
the way
think
across.
the real question on my mind too is where the hell do you use wine and saw?
See that?
Because like it's like a base attack stick with ER sub, but
yeah.
the problem I'm struggling with is if you have an ER catalyst support, when is their investment more important than just having a Fav Codex and funding the rest of your team instead?
Places I can see it potentially being useful. Ningguang, if you're using her as a burst support, you pop in, you give her ER so that she can fund herself and you're not constantly swapping to her. So
if you don't have C2, yes.
If you don't, even if you have C2, I don't know if the bug's still there, where if you proc C2 again too fast, you just don't get the energy.
I don't know if that's a bug because it's been in since patch 1.0. And it seems like she's the only character who has like a sack style reset in her own kit, so it makes sense to me that she has the internal cooldown on her E-procs.
Yep. But like it becomes a question of
it lightens the load of you having to swap properly.
Yeah, it reduces the load of you having to swap. It's high base attack, and the fact that she in her rotation wants to dash. She wants to proc her E and then immediately cancel it with a dash straight forward, so she travels through the thing, and then when she smashes the ult button where she's just past the actual gate, she gets the bonus from the gate, and then she casts her ultimate, which is where most of her damage is from anyways.
Yep. I guess
so. She gets really, really good uptime on the second half of it, which is just the attack bonus.
And it's probably still better on her than any free-to-play option. Well, then again, Solar Pearl exists if you count BP.
If you can't BP, but I can still. We had a discussion in my Discord where that kind of unfortunately left as somebody wound up leaving because they had a different viewpoint.
Womp.
But that womp. It was the whole point of they had an argument that nothing in Genshin's free to play because you've got to pay for your phone plan, you got to pay for your internet, you got to pay for your electricity.
That is a weird stance to take.
It is a very weird.
That is a bizarre stance to. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
I agree with it. However, the description of free to play is playing the game without spending any money on the game directly.
In-game money.
Yes,
money
without
on
spending
the
any
game.
money on the game directly.
So
it's not free to play, but it's very low. It's loaded. It's loaded. So Solar Pearl is probably a stronger option there, but it's good to have.
Yeah, it's good to have. Like, it's one of those things where the only thing in this banner I can see worth trying to pull for directly is if you want, what's it fucking called? What the hell's the sword called again? If you want Alley Flash,
yeah.
Specifically because right now the main power point I can see it for is for a Bennett support as an attack stick.
Bennett support for an attack stick, I can see it being useful on Kaya. I can see it being useful on Traveler.
Yep.
And
I feel like on Kaya and Traveler, it's a little bit more. How do I put it? It feels a bit like it'd be a bit more skill dependent though, just because you don't want to drop. You don't want to drop the passive. But then again, if
don't want to drop the passive,
if you're starting with like a swap queue on Kaya, you're at least snapshotting the buff. So
yeah, there's the whole snapshot of the buff, and then if you're going into the whole category of that, again, we still need to do more math to see whether Albedo snapshots buffs or not.
I mean, even if he does,
it's like
you're comparing it to like Harbinger, which has a similar issue, but Harbinger just gives him fat crit and it's a 3-star.
And so it costs like 2/3.
And like Albedo's probably the character in the game that cares the least about attack, except for maybe like Noelle.
And no, sorry, Hu Tao exists.
Hu Tao still doesn't mind attack, but you're right, yeah.
Yeah. But other than Kaya, who's only the real proponent to off-field sword
There is also the argument for
using
it could
stuff.
potentially be good on future longsword supports, because we will eventually get more longsword supports.
Yeah, it's going to be really good on them. And there's also the debate to be made if you're running a Zhongli
Yeah.
or a Diona, who you've built for fat, thick shields.
Yeah.
You could wind up making the case for it to be useful on them, because if it functions a lot like Serpent Spine, it will wind up not losing the buff when you're hit with a shield up.
Yeah, and assuming that that is the case, if it does not drop with shields up, there's definitely an argument for running it on like a carry Bennett in that situation.
A carry Bennett, or even if not on a carry Bennett, on someone who might get hit, but you'll have a shield up so you don't care about it. So a Jingcho, if you can somehow fund him through, say, Turbo or some other mechanic.
Its stat line is clearly made for a carry Bennett, because he's the longsword carry that benefits the most from EM. However, the concern then becomes, can you keep the passive up? Even then again, even if you drop the passive, just the base attack plus the EM alone might make it still worth on carry Bennett.
It might make it
but
still
I'd have
worth on
to
carry
look,
Bennett.
I'd have to calc
but
that,
at
so.
time, I'm still probably one of the lone voice proponents where Bennett's best in slot is Skyward Atlas, but Skyward Blade, but that's just me.
Yeah, but that's if you have a Skyward Blade.
I have two.
Yeah, fair.
I tried to go for Amos Bow, which had Skyward Pride. I was okay with either of them because Beidou exists. It gave me a second Skyward Blade.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and pull now, since it looks like we're at 1,200 peeps. It's a pretty good volume of peeps, and anyone who isn't here for this is can just watch it on YouTube anyway. All right.
Actually,
oh wait, let me share with you real quick. Right.
You should do that. I'm also going to at stream notifications in my Discord. I am live with Jinx.
Yeah,
Come for some shenanigans and
Elegy shenanigans. The two puns I've heard for Elegy so far is the one I came up with of Elegy, more like hella iffy, and the other one is an allergy to the weapon banner.
I like the second one more, to be completely honest.
I am at currently, I think, 6. Yeah, I'm at 6 pity. So this might be really painful.
I mean, I've done 30 summons so far. I got 2 Dragon Veins, of which I already have 2 R5, and which I already have 1 R5.
Yeah. Like, I'm probably willing to drop like another 200 of my personal money into this. If I don't get Elegy at that point, then I'm just gonna be any donations
of 5 stars.
It, but
I don't care about 5 stars. I'm specifically trying to get that Alley Flash.
Yeah, same. Alley Flash interests me the most, especially since it's a fucking stat stick for Bennett. And my Bennett has enough subs to run 200 ER without an ER weapon anyway.
I mean, I'm running Skyward Blade, and he has like 270 ER at this point.
So your Bennett doesn't even need to E at all to get his ult back up.
No, like he's on field, he E's twice, and if he gets 3 particles off the second E, he basically has ult.
Yup. Lol.
And I commonly use him as carry because he has a Fizz Cup, and like Skyward Blade with Fizz Cup actually does pretty decent damage. So I mean, I'd be okay with refinements.
The Bennett carry is like the current best option for Skyward Blade, but even then, it's like the ER isn't really needed if he's a carry.
It isn't needed, but it's still really nice to have because it means he can be more swap carry, and you can still benefit from it. Where you don't have to care about funding him, and thus you can have, say, Shangling, and so you can just swap to Shangling and fund her extra energy and stuff like that.
All right, let's see how this goes. Yakuza.
For a split second there, your stream quality dropped. It was like, is that a gold already?
God damn it, it's a 5G.
Could be worse. Could be Dragon's Bane. Or do you not have R5 Dragon's Bane? Oh, you probably
I have an R4 DB at this point.
Oh, only R4? Surprising.
Yep, it's one of the ones I have not pulled as... I also don't pull Weapon Banner much, so... Like...
Makes sense.
The only time I've pulled Weapon Banner so far was... I pulled for, like... I wasn't even pulling for Homer, I was pulling for something else on there, and then I got a Homer and a Skyward Pride in one pull.
You can thank Tuna for that.
Yep.
What's better for Venti? Harp will be better for Venti. There is a case
Hey,
potentially.
Alley Flash.
Nice. There is a case potentially for Elegy to, like, we have to do calcs where
Yeah.
we have to determine whether the damage loss on Venti running Elegy is made up for by the damage gain the rest of your team has.
Yeah.
The main issue being here is that the cooldown and uptime has been made much more balanced than when it was originally announced, where the original announcement had it at 15 seconds uptime, 15 seconds
Hey,
downtime.
DB.
Nice.
But yeah, and like the reality is that even if Elegy's power spike is good, its downtime is so bad.
The worst part is it doesn't line up with Venti, so he's not getting it every time he ultimates.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a potential mathematical case where he doesn't get it in an ultimate, and you have to wait an extra rotation.
Which
or
means
pop
that
in for a second E.
Yep, and like Elegy's definitely going to be a speed run, one rotation wipe thing, for sure, for like Leviathans. But
Yeah.
for regular use, like even if it's good during the power spike, which it could potentially be for a bow support, the downtime's going to really hurt you.
Yeah, like the thing is if Venti could somehow get a lot of the benefit of the buff. If he could snapshot the buff with his ultimate and somehow do that every time he rotated, it would be very good because 180 to what is it, 360 EM.
How the fuck did I get a razor?
Take it.
I already have C6 of every non-base 4-star.
Oh yeah, that's right. You've thrown a lot of summons at characters.
Yup, because I have to pull for every single new 5-star.
Yeah, I don't always, just because I have a good community where I can let them
Yeah.
run some tests for me.
How did I pull a
I can extrapolate. A wild razor has appeared.
A wild razor has appeared.
Aquila Favonia or Festering Desire on support, Bennett. Aquila Favonia gets you above 1,000 attack, which can get you above 1,000 attack given, which provides a massive benefit if you're running, let's say, Hu Tao. But Festering Desire is just really, really good on swap if, for say, you're running him in a melt or a bait team. Because that just gives him extra damage on his E, which he's using for a lot of DPS.
Yeah, honestly, Alley Flash may end up living on my Bennett from now on.
Oh, I guess a bad community.
Once I level 90.
Elegy, you mean Leggy?
What should be like a fucking Skyward Pride or some shit?
I'm going to call Skyward Heart.
It's a fucking lost prayer!
Oh, it couldn't have been a Skyward Atlas. It's a lost prayer.
It's a fucking lost prayer. There is a limit to how much of my money I'm willing to drop into this, so we'll see if I even get Elegy. I will say, Elegy interests me because it's the first true, like, it's the first support weapon that changes, that, like, makes comps potentially change. Yep. It's gonna be, like, niche in its power ability and whatnot, but it's at least interesting to me because it enables different kind of team comps. Like, the possibility of running, like, an Amber support for the Elegy buff in, like, a 1 or 2 rotation team.
I think you have 3 or 4 alleys at this point. You've been getting quite a few of them.
Yeah, I think I'm a 4. But, like, it is definitely one of those things that whales are gonna love it. What the fuck?
What the frick? Okay.
How, I got a fucking... Barbara is the first character I ever C6, and I did so in my official free rolls.
Fischl was my first, and I got her C6 before I got Venti.
Lol.
But, funny thing is, out of the weapon banner, the thing I've been spooked by most is Diona, and by spooked most by Diona, I mean my entire...
Oh my god, how many Fab GSs do I have?
The entirety of my C6 Diona, from C1 to C6, has come from weapon banner.
Yeah. But yeah, so far, all the... what has been done in, like, CN and EU testing for Elegy, and what... Okay, I think I have an R5 Alley Flash now,
yes,
fuck.
You do.
And I haven't gotten a... Have I gotten a Wine and Song yet? I don't think I have. Imagine R5ing the good one. Is that R4 alley flash? Yeah, it's probably R4.
Probably could be 5.
Now, since I do have a C6 Diona, there is the possibility of C6 Diona with alley flash just fucking like dumping EM onto my Diluc.
Yep.
For one rotation power spike, just dumping EM onto my Diluc. Okay, that's R5.
There, yeah.
Hey, white and
Hey,
song. Okay.
Nice.
I'm getting a lot of double 10s. Or double
Could you
4
repeat
stars.
if you have very heavy invest? Venti Elegy isn't good? Generally, no, because once you invest enough, he comes with up to 32% energy recharge on his own. With just initial substats on running attack percent hourglass, you can get him up to like 150 or 160, depending on their quality, ER just from substats. Not rolled substats, just ones that exist on the artifact when you get them.
There's also the issue that the more invested Venti gets, the more the multipliers on either stringless or harp get more value.
Yes.
Like there's just, yeah, because things are multiplicative. All right, one sec.
It's not a bad weapon. It'll be very, very good. Just no one fully utilizes it yet.
I gotta dump more money.
Great. I'm gonna be doing that later tonight on my stream.
Yeet.
Yay.
I don't even need to bother cutting stream to you though, because I don't care if you know my PayPal email address.
I don't care. R1 stringless or R5 Windbloom Ode on Venti. If one is leveled over the other, go for the one that's leveled. They're close enough. If neither of them are leveled, I would personally still do stringless, even if it's like a percentage below Windbloom Ode, just because once you get a second refinement or a third, it'll transfer to someone else really well. But they're honestly both worth leveling. Should I invest into this or R3 stringless? R3 stringless.
R3 stringless 100%, yeah.
Yep.
I guess my question is, or rather one of my thoughts is...
Just got a Jade Spear on, but no Xiao. Please tell me if it's good on anyone else. It's pretty good on Zhongli and potentially on Rosaria based off of what visuals we've gotten from her. Just a matter of... Hey!
Oh, hey!
Nice. It's just...
Okay, I'm calling this one is gonna be a...
It has to be one of the banner weapons.
Oh, it does. That's right, because 50-50. I forgot. Alright, well, it's probably gonna be Skywblade.
But it could potentially be very good on Rosaria. We just don't have full graphics on
Hey, we got Elegy!
Never mind. We got it.
Yeet. Fuck, now I have all these primos. Pull for C1 Venti. Spread shot Venti! I actually have spread shot Venti on my other account because I pulled a C1 on the free pulls.
I was gonna say, go for C1 Venti and that'll be the only con you equip because it doesn't matter.
Because it's literally just for fun.
Yes. I wonder if they fixed its bug.
What's the bug?
The bug was if you hit things with multiple of the Animo arrows, it wouldn't proc Animo.
Really? It wouldn't swirl?
It wouldn't swirl.
That's super funny.
Yeah, and it was tested on
wow, imagine it being bugged to be an even worse constellation.
I don't know if they wound up fixing it or not, but that was a thing there. I can't remember if you only had to hit 2 of them or if you had to hit all 3 of them. But there was a thing there. Thoughts on Viridescent Hunt for Venti? It is potentially better than Black Cliff and Stringless. Depends entirely on how your crit stats are laid out. Whether it's better
if it
worse,
fixes your crit ratio to something really nice.
Yeah, if you've got balanced crit ratio, then generally Stringless is the best choice.
I run Hunt on my Venti because it is sub 1% weaker on his... I calculated out to being sub 1% weaker on his ult than my R3 Stringless, but it makes up for that in his E damage. But also, the reason why it's good is because it enables this crit ratio.
Yeah. Whereas... if you had that ratio before Viridescent Hunt, then Stringless would wind up being superior.
Exactly. So
And
it
if you
does.
had the opposite problem, then Blackcliff is superior, which is why
Yeah.
they're going to wind up being in the same thing, which is
Kind of the
in
case with like stringless and like fischl as well. It's just it depends on.
it depends.
Yeah.
Like personally, I run Rust, even though it's worse, just because if let's say I'm running Taser or something like that, or some other unique comp, I can utilize her to auto attack, and it's not the worst thing in the world.
Jesus Christ, how many alley flashes did we fucking get?
I told you we had like 5 a while ago.
Real quick, let me make sure I don't need to R5 any of these fucking gotcha weapons yet still. I think I got everything R5. Nope. Recurve bow. Shit, that's right, recurve bow isn't a gotcha weapon.
Defeating an opponent restores HP. I don't think that's ever going to be useful, to be completely honest, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yep, sharpshooter's leveled, got that. I just like to make sure I have an R5 copy of every single one of these in case one becomes
Just
good.
in
Like
case.
White Tassel just randomly decided to be good.
Like HOD decided to become good, though it was technically always good.
Yep.
Funny enough, I used that weapon for the longest time until I finally stopped using Traveler, and I loved it.
I already have 3 R5 copies of
Is
HOD.
Alley Hunter going to be better?
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
Is Alley Hunter going to be better than Viridescent Hunt? Depends again on your crit ratios, but Alley Hunter is just a superior
Yeah.
choice to stringless. Let me check just to be sure, because I haven't run the lower numbers. I'll have to plug those in. Because
Well, what am I doing?
Venti
That's not
sheet
Elegy.
has its issues. It worked perfectly fine. Then I had to add in Alley Hunter, Windbloom Ode, and then the other weapon, and everything broke.
By the way, for those of you who haven't been following my Twitter, I have started leveling up some of my 5-star weapons because I posted on Twitter to ask about interest in it, but people seem relatively interested in me testing out higher ceiling stuff with 5-star weapons occasionally. I still use my 4-star weapons for testing 99% of the time, but I can test out things like how far can I push a Hu Tao, for example.
Yeah, but
This
it
way.
winds up becoming sure, you can have I think I did the math, and once you get a 5-star to about level 60 or 70, which is cheaper in weapon experience than it is to get a 4-star to level 90, it about equates their performance.
Yup.
So you can even use a slightly lower level 5-star to equate to a maxed out.
I got a
lower
fucking
level
lost prayer.
And it's going, and I don't
Oh, wait, shit. I can use this on my Ningguang for my ore runs.
Yes. Use it on Ningguang for your ore run. That's all it's useful for.
Yup.
And fixing crit ratio. It's still good if it fixes your crit ratio, but generally speaking,
I
if
mean,
it's
it's
not
still good
fixing
because it's
something-
a 5-star, but it just falls
is.
behind both the other 4-star or 5-star
Yes.
options.
So if it's not fixing your crit ratio, because I have done the math, and it can be best in slot if it fixes your crit ratios. That's
Oh,
just
shit.
how valuable crit is.
I got a few of these. Let's go.
I see you have all those insignias, so that when if the materials we think she's going to be using is using, Rosaria's going to go tasty.
Yeah, I have a lot of all of this stuff. I used to do mob runs for artifacts back in the day, so I kind of stocked up.
Makes sense.
I don't really do it anymore,
I'm
but
still crying and needing like 100. I've been farming it daily for like the past 2 weeks, and I still need like 100 purple.
aha!
mats
I
for,
knew that was the
on
reason I
this
bought
page.
this shit.
Probably going to need more than that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I don't know if I want to burn the full thing on it. Is the thing.
Ah.
I will say, Amos Ganyu Melt hits big funny number.
And like ammos, like generally most weapons are relatively close. Ammos on Ganyu, Skyward Harp on any of the other bow users.
Yep, and Homa on Hu Tao.
Hu Tao, and then
Homa on Hu Tao, as I recall, is still like the biggest spike out of all those, but they're in general. In fact, like I haven't leveled my Wolf Gravestone yet because I calced it out, and my Diluc with 5 stacks of Serpent Spine out damages him with fucking Gravestone.
just because there's so much attack. And,
Yeah, there's just so much
damage
attack
percent's
already.
better.
Yeah, damage percent and crit percent is better because Bennett and Noblesse 4
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah,
and
speaking
Pyro
of,
Res.
if you ever need to reference it, I put out a video on motion values.
Oh yeah, I saw that. definitely going to be referencing that in the future.
Yeah, I put it out, and I finally put in the math that I wanted to put in a video showcasing what I was on about when I mentioned Xiao being about Diluc value.
Hey, I have a
lot
bunch of these
people
for
in-
some reason. I don't know why I have so many of these motherfuckers.
I take it. Is that if
Okay,
you're
this is as
building
high
a
as I'm going to
venti
take it
harp,
right now. I'll
you're
bring
building
it
a venti harp.
up later. Yeah, 70 is as high as I really am gonna take this until I can farm up more stuff. Alright, I'm not gonna burn the rest of my things on this.
But yeah, I sat down and it was like, okay, yeah, Diluc and Xiao basically hit the same level of attack or effective attack once you take crit in 2.
Yeah, might as well R5 DB.
thing. But Xiao gets like an additional 33% damage percent, so he just massively takes ahead. But then again, you then have to take into account Diluc can vape, and vape provides him a massive damage boost, which then winds up bringing things
Bell.
back in mind. So
The
whole
bell is
thing's about,
waiting.
it's gonna be so good the moment we get an HP scaling claymore,
Right?
which is definitely not going to be end user license agreement.
Lol.
And that is that name.
I can't wait
How
for
good is Raid Slasher?
can't
It's
wait for a
waiting for the
bell to
right
be used
claymore.
unironically. This is on Thursday, so that's tomorrow. I'm gonna just wait until tomorrow and farm that up. I'm not gonna burn any more of my things on it. I'm not gonna burn any more of my things on it.
Hu Tao with Helma HP percent or EM? I'd go with HP percent unless the EM sand has a lot
How much
better
does this
substats.
refine up to? It's 3% per level.
Cloud Retainer will scale with HP. Just believe. I'm having a mental brain fart. I can't remember who Cloud Retainer.
Lol, it's right. Okay, so
Cloud Retainer, is that via bird?
oops.
That's the bird. Okay.
Yeah, I do not like Alfredo in
How
this
good is
team.
Blackcliff Bow on Venti? It's going optimal to optimal, so your artifacts are built specifically for it. It winds up being between 2 and 4% below stringless
Actually,
Viridescent Hunt at refinement 1 to refinement 1. It falls further behind at higher refinements because on Venti you almost never get the stacks, just period.
Elegy for the end.
Will, you don't know me? Hello. And now you do.
Keck. Yeah, again, for those of you in chat, go follow and subscribe and all that shit to Cleeful Frames, who is in
Cleeful
chat with me.
Frames. I'm started doing YouTube stuff not too long ago, specifically for the game, because I kept getting asked simple questions that would best be answered in a video.
Hey,
so
that's why I
decided
started YouTube.
That's
Literally
entirely
why
the
I
reason
started
here.
YouTube.
But I started doing streaming, and the streaming only started because I was doing my spreadsheets. If you've ever seen the really not so pretty Venti sheet, the Ningguang sheet, the Klee sheet, I've also done Bennett, Ganyu, and Alfredo del Fuego. Well, it should be something else. I just can't
What does this
remember the
even put
actual
here?
Spanish.
205 ER. Okay,
Take it.
that's unnecessary.
But
I don't have
Cleeful
anything.
Frames
Any other
both on Twitter and
instructors
on
pieces to switch out
YouTube,
for?
and I just try to help people out.
Yeah. I really
I
need to
also
farm
have
up like
one-
an HB set for instructors for my
Yeah,
Diona.
Makes sense. I also happen to have a level 90 out of 90 Beidou with plus 13 E and Q talents,
Get that shit off of you. Get that shit off of you.
which was quite expensive. Do you think this game is too easy to be
Fuck, what
taken
was this set?
seriously? If you are too good at this game for it to be too easy to be taken seriously, you're taking it too seriously,
Oh, you're spending too much money.
or you're spending too much money. Or both.
It's part of the thing too, but it's fun for me to see if I can get like the sub 30, sub 20-second clears and shit with like 5-star weapons and stuff. But like at that point, I'm just seeing how far I can push it, right? Because I've been smashing like the 130 per side 9-star abyss late game content measure for fucking ages at this point.
Yep, and
that's with 4-star weapons, relatively low investments, good artifacts though. But
and I have yet to beat floor 12, so there is a disparity there.
yep.
Honestly, don't care too much for Abyss. It's fun. It's interesting. It's gotten to the point where
It's just
like,
the only
you
late
get-
game shit I have right now. It's the
It's-
only
it's-
thing I have that I don't like. It's like even like level 90 child, anything in the overworld, any of the domains, and that kind of stuff. Since I've been clearing 40 AR45 domains for like fucking what 3 or 4 months at this point, it's just like it's the only thing I have that's a challenge.
Yeah,
It's the
and,
only
like, I can see
content
it
I
being
have.
I can see it being a challenge, but at the same time, the one thing I personally don't find too fun in games where you have to do constant amounts of resets in something that doesn't necessarily feel it's always your fault.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, like back in Monster Hunter, 9 times out of 10, if you're going for fast times, it's not always your fault for having to do a reset, but at the same time, you can still complete the fight. If you lose a fight, it's entirely your fault.
Yep, and like
You could get
Tuna
dipped
likes
to an extent,
and
but
Tuna
it's
likes
almost
Monster Hunter a lot
entirely
better because it's more skill expressive. It's
There-
it
yes,
is
there's
genuinely hard to tell if someone's getting better times than you just because they have better artifacts or not.
Exactly. Unless they actually show the artifacts. But like that's the one thing I don't mind about Monster Hunter is because at that point I'm resetting because I didn't do as good as I can. So every time I reset, I'm going to wind up being better than the last time because I should be learning. But in Genshin, a lot of the time it's like I go into floor 12 Abyss and like I spent 3 minutes because the team I have takes 3 minutes to clear 12-3 the first half. Go to the second half and just I'm busy fighting other things, but since the ruin graders are so big, I don't notice when one starts spinning and it one-shots me because it launches me through an ice cage.
Yup.
Ain't nothing I can do about that. Which is why I'm building a Kaya so I can freeze comp to try and trivialize the difficulty of it. But even then, it's different strokes for different folks at this point.
Pretty much. You got your set. Yep.
So what I would greatly enjoy is instead of having another Abyss where we get to take our units into it, give us another Abyss where you can design and cater to the Abyss with skill expression, meaning the units they give you are fixed.
Yeah, that would be fun, and it would also be low-key hilarious to watch a lot of the whales who never really had to learn how to play this game just struggle with that.
Exactly. We've talked about Elegy.
Now, mind you, not all whales are like that, but there are definitely whale players who have never had to learn how to play the game properly because they just
My tip
have
is to
always
have a
had
30k HP
value,
Zhongli
no
shield.
high values.
It really helps in not dying. That would be helpful if I had a Zhongli. I didn't pull him because I didn't like how they handled the whole fiasco that Zhongli was. So,
Okay.
and I'm a proponent where if you don't like something a gacha game does, don't throw the money for it because they'll notice that.
Yup.
Just most people did it anyways because people like Kektone or Damon were like, just trust me, he's going to be amazing. They're going to buff him out of the
Well,
world.
actually, most of them were saying he was already amazing.
Well, they were.
The whales are. 'Cause the thing about Zhongli is that Zhongli is probably the unit in the game that, even at launch, had the most discrepancy between whale and normal experiences. Because
Yep.
whales have C2, whales have C3, and C5. So all three of those are huge factors for making Dongli feel better. And also whales had hyper-invested Dongli. Hyper-invested Dongli, even on release, was good because his ult wasn't a DPS loss. His shield was fat, and also his his field time requirements were low because of C2. So like all of these factors made Whale Dongli feel way better than he does with regular investment and a C0. And then like because a lot of them was saying he was really good even before the buffs, and the buffs weren't necessary. I was saying this guy needs buffs, and they gave it to him.
Yeah, in spades.
In spades, and it wasn't just me. The entire CN community was just so pissed off about that stuff.
Well, they are pissed off about it for a different reason, but we're not going to get into that.
Lol, fair.
'Cause I don't
fair.
think you deal with that kind of stuff on your streams.
Yeah, would rather not. But point is, yeah, Dongli got buffs he needed. I still think he's like Jingcho for me, where it's like the only two must pulls in my mind are Bennett and Venti, and then like right below that is like Jingcho and Dongli, because Jingcho is still reliant on Saxold. If you have Fav Sword, it can kind of work, but like he's still reliant on Sax Sword, and Dongli's still reliant on having high investment.
Keck level 90 Skyward Blade. I
Kick.
still have a single copy of Skyward Sword. One. And I've pulled on Skyward Sword's banners. Twice.
Triple pyro, triple pyro, triple pyro.
Triple pyro, good.
Wait, why am I waiting on stacks? I don't care about these floors. Jump on me, you cowards!
Teamwork is dreamwork. No escape. Witness the power.
Ah, fuck. I wasn't wedged properly.
Venti under-leveled to enable to do autos in his ult. That winds up becoming a question of, in the team you're using him in, is the damage lost, the damage he loses made up for by the damage, say, Diluc gains? And then the second problem becomes, what happens if you swap him to a team where you're not using someone who cares about that? In my opinion, so long as you have a Sucrose, most times where you would want Venti to not put things in the air, Sucrose is generally going to supply those teams better, because you're either running Vape most of the time, or you're running Melt. Both of which just generally prefer having more EM, which Sucrose provides, Venti doesn't, and Sucrose just provides more consistency in what buffs and her AoE pulling is.
Come back
there.
over here, you fucking coward.
So, do I think it's bad? No. It's just generally you're going to wind up being missing out on part of what makes Venti so good. Would I recommend Favonius Bow or Sack Bow for Venti? I'd go Favonius over Sack personally.
Yeah, I find it more useful. Why did I do that?
Yeah. But again, like, Venti doesn't need it himself, and the extra energy he generates, considering you're probably rotating him once every 15 seconds, it's not that amazing.
Need to get my ults up.
Body and mind.
Is R1 Sack or R1 Fav good for Jingcho if you have decent crit rates? Generally, I'm pretty sure that you can, in theory, get better energy gen overall off of Favonius Sword over Sack Sword. It's just Sack Sword fits his rotation so much better. But again, R1 Sack Sword has an issue of not matching the rotation yet.
Just want to make sure my ults are up for the next... I guess it doesn't really matter for the next floor, but whatevs.
Not too much, but it's always nice to
I
do.
probably could have afforded to put my another ult rotation there and still go on it back.
4-star carries. Ningguang, Bennett, Razor, and then I'm gonna go out and pull
Zhongling.
something.
I would still say Zhongling, but Zhongling isn't technically the carry under comp Bennett is.
No, yes. Yeah, so I'm doing those three, and then I'm gonna pull one out of left field, Kaya.
I agree. Freeze Kaya is actually really strong, especially if you have Mona, because he's so good at extending Mona. Omen.
Yeah, especially if you're running like Mona and Jingcho, because they both benefit each other so well. You basically have the full length of it.
Yup, and it's
Which means I
amazing.
need to start leveling up Mona. What's optimal ER for Venti if you were well invested in him? Aim for 160 to 170. You can do that with just some stats.
Fate is upon
Because he
you.
gets like 32 on his own.
Born of ice and frost. This is long overdue.
Festering Desire is not bad on Jingcho. It's not bad, but he doesn't benefit the most out of it.
Well, it's if you have a sack sword, it's just better anyway.
It's just better.
You kind of need
exactly.
either like a high refine. You either need like Lion's Roll, or you need in like a turbo team, or you need what's it? You need a 5-star weapon to drop sack sword, just because the double E's are so much value.
Yeah.
Even if you can run sackless Jingcho, which is possible with things like turbo
Yep,
and shit,
people do.
it's still not really worth it because
Any
you
thoughts
drop
on
double
how
E's.
Fizz Rosario will be not 100% sure yet, but taking the release footage that they gave us, I did do some preliminary frame counts, and at least her normal string looks to be about Xiao auto string level of output. I just haven't specifically
God.
done Razor
Oh god,
testing.
don't die, Ganyu. Actually, you can probably die. I don't need you to clear 12-2, but I'd rather you didn't.
Yeah, and we're only testing, we're not doing stuff. But
Let me scribe.
Rosario's probably going to be decent. I don't know yet whether Fizz or whether Cryo is going to wind up being superior, because she doesn't get any bonus Cryo stuff from her E or her Q. Generally
exactly.
speaking, Fizz characters either buff their autos, aka Razor,
Delves into the
or Xinyan, or they have access to physical somewhere other than just their normal attacks. Again,
AKA
Xinyan,
Access
and
denied.
potentially other physical units we get down the line.
Yeah, so it's a question of, well, would you rather just run Chongyun so she can be mono damage type?
Yeah, but at the same time, it then becomes a question of, at that point, it works there for a specific comp, but then what about the damage if you decide to run her Fizz? How well can you make her Fizz, and what weapon do you go Fizz?
Yep.
And
I'm
then
personally
how
more
do that
interested in her
compare?
ability as like a enabling support with her ult. Looks pretty interesting.
The
But I will
thing
definitely be
I'm very
looking at
interested in
physical.
Is,
I think the big advantage of physical too is CP.
yeah,
CP is just such a good free weapon.
it is. Though, depending again on MVs, other sources, and stuff like that, there is still potentially a case to be
Rain
made for
cutter.
Dragon Spine Spear.
Rain outlines your fate.
Depending on how much she's on field versus how much you're swapping. Because if she's basically getting a proc every time she does, let's say, a normal combo, because she's only out for X amount of time as a Fizz carry, because you're swapping so much in a swap style team, it winds up being superior. The main problem Dragon Spine Spear has is the fact that it takes 10 seconds to get the thing off.
Teamwork is
Venti needs very little EM.
Well,
Venti
salvage.
doesn't need little or a lot. Venti's entirely proponent is based off of just the more EM you have, the better he does with his swirls. And swirls are a lot of damage.
For Venti. And only for Venti.
Also Animo MC. If you're
Oh,
using,
right.
Tornado.
I always forget Animo MC exists, to be honest. I'm really bad about... I am...
Sucrose doesn't get enough swirls for her damage modifiers in order for it to be quite as viable, but she does a lot of EM anyways for other reasons.
no escape.
Because, like, if you guys don't realize, I'm going to be explaining it further in the video, but generally, whenever you trigger an overload or a superconduct, it does one instance on damage to the person you triggered it on, and one instance of AoE. An enemy and people you hit can only take one instance of damage so far as my testing has shown. So it means if you overload 4 people at once, they all still take only one instance of overload damage. So the general best way to deal with it would be to overload 1, then the 2nd, then the 3rd, then the 4th, and then they all basically take 4 times the total potential overload damage. Swirl functions a bit differently, where you swirl an enemy, they take an instance of swirl damage, and then there's also an AoE swirl damage. And an enemy and people can take both a swirl proc and an AoE swirl damage at the same time. Meaning 2 enemies in Venti ult doubles his swirl damage.
Yep, so instead you get 14 instead of 7 swirls, which makes the EM a bit
in
more
terms
valuable.
of damage amounts, which makes it a lot more valuable. And we're talking like high level Venti in an alt, like you're getting like with decent EM, you're getting like 20, 30, 40k of swirl.
I think one nice argument for Venti running like building EM for him earlier on too is just that you can always dump the set onto Sucrose later.
Yep.
If you have Sucrose and if you plan on running Sucrose. I think Sucrose is a bit overrated because she has, in my opinion, only a few teams where she gets max value.
Yep.
And like for example, Diluc Vape, she does not get max value unless you're one rotating. Because the 2nd and 3rd rotations get really scuffed, and you're either wasting tomb cooldowns to make it work, or you're really altering your rollouts to make it work. And
Potentially.
yeah, just because it's incredibly hard to swirl Pyro after the first time. And if you do,
that's what you're going on. Yeah.
yeah. And then like on this, because the reason why Jingqiu works so well as a Hydro Enabler is because he doesn't.
So good at keeping it up.
Yeah, he keeps it up. So you have to wait for Jingqiu's shit to run out before you can get a second Pyro VV out.
So the only way I can see that wind up becoming a very valuable thing is if we have a way of quickly applying Pyro through a new unit we get at some point. That's worth having.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
say, if you're running a Bennett in that team, so you're running Jingqiu, Bennett, Diluc, and then Sucrose.
Oh,
Sucrose
no,
is actually
Mona.
not. Oh no, Mona. Sucrose is not the worst idea to have in that particular team because then you can use Bennett to guaranteed remove the whatever Hydro's there, and sure you're lowering your cooldowns by let's say 2 or 3 seconds, but you're going to want to run those anyways and get Bennett ult on Jingqiu anyways. So you're adding maybe a second to a second and a half, and you can
Oh
still
shit!
wind up
I
getting
think my Ganyu still has her EM cup on. Whoops. Oh well. I'm like, why am I only hitting 18k? This is a small number.
That's my big number, but I also don't have ammos.
Yeah, without ammos, that's my big number too. Okay. Let's see how this goes. let's see. What do we do for rollouts?
Give Pyro Kaya, please.
Amber for Amber or Bennett buff first.
So you're trying to figure out how you're
Amber
going to
first.
rotate this?
Yeah, Amber first, Bennett, Jingcho, Diluc, I think.
Yeah, I'd go Bennett then Amber because Amber will benefit from the bonus attack, and then
That's fair, and
too
she's
much.
not doing. And
then you're
very
going to
low
have a
damage.
longer uptime, and then you're going to wind up having a longer uptime on the Elegy buff.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the Elegy buff, if a longer uptime on the Elegy buff is more viable than longer uptime on the Bennett buff, but.
I mean, Bennett ult lasts what, 12 seconds, and then it's what, 13 out.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
Amber. Probably Bennett first, though. Plus,
Yeah, go
Bennett
first.
has better range for this shit, too.
Yeah, and then on top of all of that, you gain the benefit where you can swap back to Bennett real quick and keep your combo going. You can't really swap to Amber to keep your combo going.
Okay, those are pretty big vapes.
Wow, Jin Jinx is a guest on Gleeful stream.
Lol.
That's neat. Okay.
No escape.
Verdict is
Ian is good for Venti, but
Witness the
ER is
power
better.
of my
It depends.
sword.
Generally, the best artifacts come out to being attack percent, crit damage, crit chance, and ER, but that's because you do need enough ER for him to ult off cooldown. But that also depends on his team.
Still don't think this is
If-
better than Sucrose.
It's just, I find it funny that on most of the teams that Venti doesn't really want to be there because he, at high level, has anti-synergies, Sucrose typically is a really good slaughter.
Yeah, part of the
Which is
issue
my-
too here is that Sucrose has the same issues as Elegy Amber does, which is that first rotation good, after that meh. But Sucrose seems to be providing will probably be providing quite a bit more than Amber would with an Elegy in this situation. I feel like
Yeah.
you'd need a high refined Elegy for this to really be a Sucrose replacement.
Oh, Jinx, they already
Um,
put in a retry button.
Oh, they did already? Fuck!
Yeah.
I'm so used to it not being there.
Well, but it matters, but
I mean, if you don't have Sucrose for some reason,
yeah,
I
but
still don't
chances
think you
are-
should pull for Elegy regardless,
No
but...
escape.
No. Like generally speaking, if you have to ask if you should pull for Elegy, you probably
don't
should
need
pull
it.
for Elegy.
Yep.
Now, if you're asking if you should pull for Elegy for a specific comp where it might actually make sense, well then there's viability, but you have to ask the very specific question for it to make sense. Otherwise, the answer is no.
Let's look. Rain cutter, know my sword.
Yeah,
Rain
this is
outlines your-
not doing that well compared to my other Diluc teams.
Well, like how stacked is your Amber? Well, your Amber's not that bad.
Let it rain.
She's pretty good.
my flame.
Fuck. Got
Oh no.
8-2. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I can push 50 with this team.
Maybe
It's
if
a
your Amber
decent
was-
it's a decent spike in Diluc output.
but it's not enough.
Yeah. Oh wait, shit. I'm not triggering. I'm not fucking Amber's not triggering instructors here.
Oh.
Fuck, I have to fuck with okay, I have to do her after Jingcho then. I need her to vape.
So then you're gonna auto ones into Q and stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot Amber's running instructors here, which is I really need to be activating instructors for this to work, so. Messing with my rollouts a bit for it, but that's fine.
Oh, that's why we're here.
Rain cutter, know my sword.
Fuck.
Let it rain. Get it.
Burn.
Ah, but if I pop Bennett too early, I don't get any of it for Diluc. And it being on
but
Diluc is the most valuable, so I might have to do
the
Bennett
problem
last.
It's really, really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird to have to put this into my rollout.
Your chat's going retry button.
Right! There's a retry button. Right!
Maybe you should just start practicing using it for muscle memory.
See, because I'm so used to really carefully not touching this side, because this
Yes,
means I have to
very
start
much.
all the fuck back over.
Yep. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, why isn't there a third button? Why do you have to spend more time now going through extra menus in order to cancel?
Lol.
At the same time, it's not that bad, but still. Speaking of, I should continue typing out stuff on Venti video.
Rain cutter. Huh? No, my sword. Let it rain. Teamwork is dream.
Verdict is.
One Mihoyo dev dies every time you don't hit the retry button. Well, no more Genshin.
Womp.
Let's light it up. Teamwork is rain cutter. No, my sword. No, my sword.
Oh, Shannon finally got a VA. Nice.
Oh, yay.
Retribution.
Now, if only the fight was good.
No escape. Ha. Everybody stand.
I wonder if Elegy just doesn't currently fit well
Witness
into
the power of
this.
Current rotations, yeah. I'm not sure if it's.
I'm wondering if
actually...
Elegy is going to wind up being more superior on fischl, specifically for
I feel like this can push 50
Electro.
seconds, but 50 is still weaker than my than
Yeah.
my Sucrose, Strongly, or Fredo versions.
yeah.
Yeah, I think without a high refined Elegy, this just doesn't end up being worth it for this team.
Now the next thing worth testing would probably be.
Well, I have a C6
Taser?
Diona, so
What was that? There's also Taser.
there's also a Taser. That's true. EC's. I just don't know if it's worth it for EC though. But then again, what else is your fucking Diona gonna run in Taser?
Can you check on? I'm gonna do this because you're busy doing your thing. Settings. Count on a check option. Why does user center option gone? No, it's here for me.
Wait, what's user center?
User center allows you to link your accounts and stuff.
Oh, shrug.
I haven't done anything with it yet because I don't want to link my. I log in with Facebook. I don't want to link my Facebook to Genshin stuff.
I wonder if that's.
My
I wonder if that's a
already have been
bait to
hacked.
try to get your email address.
It might be, but
It might be a
the
bait.
thing-
It might be a bait to try to get a streamer's email address if that shows up when you're trying to do that.
Guess we can rest a bit.
It does. I don't think it shows the email address.
Does it not? I don't know. I still also have not linked my.
I'm logged into
account.
Facebook, so.
Gotcha.
Game all of a sudden, mouse not working? Oh no, mouse is working.
Yeah, I think without a high refined Elegy will probably be more worth it because 200 EM is a lot of bonus damage, but
It is, but at the same time, even more just whale bait.
yeah, pretty much. But then again, I have a C6 Diona, so we're talking we're talking 420 fucking EM. So let's see how
That's
this
nice.
goes.
That's nice.
Let's see how this goes. 420
So, how
EM
much
plus
EM?
I can freeze. Plus I can freeze my ult.
How much
Okay, not
EM do
my
you
ult,
need on a
rather.
venti, please? As much as you can find in terms of making your artifacts good. But don't go putting main stats unless, of course, you've got an EM hourglass that's
you get-
really well rolled.
You get
If
EM.
you get an EM
yeah.
hourglass that's really well rolled, take it.
There's also
take
just the
it and
fact that
run.
Venti generally gets paired with Bennett, which means that attack sands are already hitting some diminishing returns from that.
I generally am starting to stop doing that just because
Venti doesn't
Bennett
need
doesn't
it.
seem to hit in it.
Oh, you're running
Like-
Bennett carry. Yeah, no, I'm also meant Bennett
Yeah.
as a support with Venti.
Even then, like using his E or his Q half the time I miss.
Fair.
Weird. Also, I have a level 80 out of 90 Venti, so a little more.
You get a little bit more lift than I do at 60.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the problem with Venti too, is that he's good with investment, but also it's questionable whether you want to level him because more suck.
Generally speaking, I'm looking to run him more with Cleat. Don't have too much of an issue with her, especially
Yeah.
with her ultimate and her E. Ganyu doesn't matter.
Ganyu just shoots them.
fischl doesn't
Ganyu just means you
matter.
have to aim a little bit better, that's it.
Beidou, if you've got someone that can hit in the ultimate, doesn't matter. So most of the things I'm typically running with a Venti nowadays are being built around the fact that they can work with Venti.
Yeah, I should probably be running Blizzard Strayer, but that requires me to change my entire set for Ganyu, and I don't feel like it. Team 2 doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Double healer, let's go. I could actually probably run a super vape variation with fischl instead for this. But I do want to see what happens if I buff my Diluc by 120 EM. Oh, by 420 EM, sorry.
Big number.
Very big number. Let's see big number.
Honestly, I'm now sitting here going, why not Hu Tao instead?
Shit, do I have to run... Oh, shit, I think I have to run fucking... Barbara. Oh, wait, no, I have Jean. Duh. Right, Jean exists. I keep forgetting Jean exists.
I'm just sitting here, it's like, why not Hu Tao? Like, you're throwing 420 EM, that sounds like a big, chunky ultimate.
Because you have to be over 50% HP.
Have you seen the Dragon Strike combo on Diluc? How big's the power increase if you've already calculated that? I haven't touched it.
I've seen
pretty
something
big.
around the range of 280 MVS from calcs, but
Like,
I have not
generally
checked it.
speaking, from what I've looked at it, I think it was 1010 put a video
Yeah.
out on it, and it slightly perturbed me.
The problem with
'cause,
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Just because he sits there and he does a Diluc plunge, and the Diluc plunge is obviously a low plunge just of how high he goes, and the video just ramps on about high plunge values.
Rain outlines your
But
fate.
it looks like values are anywhere between bad
Wait, what am I
execution
doing?
getting you about 10% up to like
Why do they eat my melt?
40%, but generally you're looking at around 20% increase. Well, build Sucrose for 900 EM and combine her with Diona. That's approximately 500 EM just from those two. No, you're probably at that point looking at with Elegy on Diona. Wait, oh no. That sounds dumb. Throw Diona out, get Elegy buff, get Diona C6 buff, then proc the buff from Sucrose, who now has an extra 420 EM. Or however much extra EM she's getting.
Rain outlines your
Oh boy.
I probably
Are they
should
talking
not
about
be
a
running
Diluc?
attack Jingcho with this team. There's not enough energy for it.
the power of Gugwa.
No, probably not. Like at that point, I'm just hearing a lot of funny, yeah, you're getting like 600, 700 EM just from buffs, which is a lot. Is 250% ER too much on Bennett? No. Just depends on what you want to do your Bennett stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't Jinx that necessarily answered the question, but it is just channel, so we take that.
Nani?
Someone's... it doesn't matter. Is there any constellation that makes Sucrose better than C0 Venti? Potentially C6. That's it. Potentially C6, and it depends on the team comp. They do different things.
Okay. I'm so glad I didn't have to spend that much on Elegy, because I did not want to have to spend that much on Elegy.
Have you considered Child with the new bow to enable bigger damage on Zhongling and fischl?
How do you proc his Elegy on him before Zhongling snapshots?
Exactly the point.
Or
the only
fischl
reason I can
snapshots.
see that is potentially C0. That's
Yeah.
why C4.
C4. Even then, with C4, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna you're gonna have to like shoot them 2 times with child shots before you ever pop anything on Zhongling or fischl? Like
Makes sense,
the
but
problem
then
with the problem with Elegy on a lot of these things I'm thinking of potential on is how do you deal with snapshots?
Yeah, and that's the big
Even if
issue.
you ran like a Beidou like Turbado setup, like are you willing to wait 4 seconds before Beidou pops her ult because you need to snapshot the buff? Not sure if that's worth it. Might be, but I'm not sure if that's worth
Yeah,
it.
it might be. Yeah, it really becomes into question as snapshots.
Yeah, because like the issue with Child is Zhongling snapshots. Any EM she gets afterwards does not matter after she pops her ult.
Yeah. And like she's not going to get her ult back and procced in time, especially because Child has uptime issues. So it's going to be really weird how you run them all. Though there is potential. But again, we're talking C4 or C6 on Child necessary to be able to do this to begin with, and that's just like, ew. Like, that makes Elegy even more whale-centric.
Yep.
It's already very whale-centric.
Verdict is
What are snapshots? Basically, whenever you activate an ability that deploys a thing that then generates an attack or otherwise an effect.
Exception
so
being
Shangling,
Jingcho's.
Ultimate, Jingcho, but Jingcho doesn't proc a thing specific for his swords. The thing
Yeah.
he procs is his E
Witness the
swords.
power of
So
Gua.
there's
Yeah,
that to
basically
spare.
things that last over time, with a few exceptions, they snapshot your stats when you cast it and use that for the entire duration.
Yeah.
There are a tiny handful of things that do not in the game.
Yeah. So like if you proc Bennett ult, get the Bennett ult buff, and then activate Shangling's ultimate and her E, they will keep the attack buff even if she leaves the aura for as long as it lasts. Beidou, her Q snapshots, I can't remember when her E snapshots.
Oh my god, Tevi tipped $100. Hey Jinx, hope you're doing well. Thanks for the stream. Thank you so much, Tevi. I'm sorry I missed that. I did not get a notification for it. I feel bad because it's $100. Thank you so much, Tevi. I really appreciate that. We'll put that towards the Rosario fund. In fact, let me
Yes.
edit this real quick. We got...
Does Goba snap? Yes. Goba snapshots.
Oh wait, let's see.
So
100...
we aren't going to list things that snapshot
695? Because it's too long a list.
because it's better to list the people who don't. The people who don't, Jingcho, his Q does not snapshot. We are not entirely sure about Albeido's E yet. It looks like it's finicky on what it does and does not snapshot, so we're still trying to run testing, or at least I haven't looked at to see what Albeido mains has done on it.
Yeah, last night I did some very cursory testing, and it seemed like the crit from Hod does not snapshot. But I did very cursory testing, not nearly enough to be conclusive.
Yeah, I don't think it does necessarily because it summons an elevator. The elevator itself is not what's proccing the effect. So
yeah,
to speak.
exactly.
And then Hu Tao is very weird. She looks like the first half snapshot, where like she snapshots some things, but she also doesn't snapshot other things. And like you were even talking about that at one point, where like you saw it snapshot her E if the E is active when you press the button, but it also doesn't snapshot her HP.
This is long overdue. Here we go. Shadows of Fate.
That was
What
definitely
is
not
that
the right
snapshot
rollout.
you're talking about that much? Again, we'll cover it. Does Hu Tao E DOT snapshot? Heard it doesn't. I don't think it does.
It should not,
But
no.
again, I don't have to
Brace
test.
yourself.
Snapshots are only talked about utilized when it involves Bennett's buff, or do other buffs used with it? Any stat change, so buff or debuff, if you activate an ability during that debuff and it snapshots, it takes your stats at that
Yeah,
point in
so
time.
it also applies Noblesse 4-piece to Instructor's 4-piece. Why the fuck did that end up over there?
Because Venti.
What the hell, Venti? I think it was aiming at one of the guys who was jumping at me.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yahoo! Delve into destiny.
Why do you use both Bennett and Diona in a Diluc team?
Because I want 420 EM! Because we're testing out the meme of
Whose
420
ult
EM.
snapshots? If the ult lasts over time, it snapshots.
Unless it's Jingcho, basically.
Unless the thing that it summons isn't persistent. Jingcho's ult doesn't summon persistent swords.
Yeah.
Well, it does, but those swords are his E, not
It
his Q.
gens a sword every time you swing.
Yes.
Wait, no,
And
but
so,
wait, but even then, Beidou's ult does snapshots. So I'm not sure if that's...
she summons a dragon targe around her.
Okay, yeah, but Jingcho also summons the Q, so I feel like I feel like it's a
but
confusing metric, or a confusing like metric to go by.
No, it is, but you have to think where the source of that
That's fair.
lasting effect is coming from.
That's
Jingcho's is from his E. Rain Swords is never on his Q, apart from mentioning it gives him them always. The main description of them's on his
I think you got that backwards, but yeah, it's on her. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Beidou's Targe is generated by her ultimate and never otherwise shows
Rain
up.
Cutter. Rain outlines your fate. Pew pew. Look at you.
Why do I keep doing that? Damn it.
Over here.
Rip. Your Discord link is expired in the description.
Oh, it is? I
apparently.
guess I gotta get a new one.
You don't have a permanent one up?
I thought that was the permanent one, but apparently not.
Rain outlines your fate.
But Mona worked for Hu Tao, got her instead of Venti.
Let me
Yeah.
weave you a
Yeah.
web.
Still works.
Funny thing is one of the best teams in my opinion for just fun is running Hu Tao, Jingcho, and Mona on the same team, because now you're just capable of setting up Vates on both sides of the equation, and hey, proccing Hu Tao E on Mona, just lots of damage all around everywhere. Also, if you have not noticed yet, they changed the order that loot shows when you do world bosses.
Huh.
It looks really weird. All the yellow knight items are now coalesced.
Really? I did not know that. Then again, I haven't done any world bosses since the patch.
No, my sword.
Well, you die already. Okay, there we go.
Who would be the fourth member in that combination? You can run Bennett, you can run, to an extent, Changling. Amber's a possibility, or you can throw in someone else that provides a buff. So Diona's.
That was poorly angled.
Go as one. Access denied. All hail.
I've been relying on your.
No, Venti's dead.
Oh no!
This is actually going to be a pain in the ass now.
And haven't been leveling artifacts past 16 and characters past A4. Is this still correct? It's good to have, but once you get a team of 8 people, so once you get 8 people leveled to that, you should start looking at getting good artifacts to 20.
Oh, even before that, actually? No, it's
Yeah.
Zach's new calc showed that you should just hyper-invest in your carry first.
Yeah, if you've got a carry that's worth hyper investing in.
Even if they're not worth hyper-investing in, they should at least be T8s before you invest in anyone else. According to... Yeah, just because of the fact that up until, like, you're hitting, like, past T8s, it's close to linear scaling, but they deal a larger percentage of your team's DPS.
Wind, hear me.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, Zach's calcs do show that our previous recommendation... God, I have to kill these guys at full damage now. It does show that it is better.
Yeah, so if you guys are saying, why is Mona Jingcho a good pair? Because Jingcho's providing a lot of Hydro for Vate. But Mona, if you have Lingering Pyro, which is possible due to how the rotations play out...
Oh no, I have to kill them with Mona!
You
Fuck!
might want to just hit the reset button.
No! We're doing this! Wait, does my Mona even have Widsith on? Fuck, she has wine and... Wait, what the fuck is she using? That is Widsith, okay. Oh, well, shit.
Does the damage bonus from Dragon's Bane on Changling's snapshot on her ult then, since DB passive depends on the enemy?
No, on hits
don't think.
No, on hit.
Yeah, on hit effects
things
don't.
Yeah, on hit effects don't, because it checks. Because when you hit the thing, it's based on whether it's checking if the guy has something or not.
Yeah. So they're saying retry button.
I know. I've muscle memoried it fast because I didn't do it faster. I'd have to do 12-1 again.
Yeah. So specifically for those, any effect that applies on hit never applies in your character sheet. When something snapshots, it snapshots the character sheet. Any buffs that apply outside of the character sheet, so we're talking blood, we're talking bloodstained chivalry. No, I don't think. We're talking Blizzard Strayer.
Yeah,
we're talking Lion's Roar. We're talking Dragon's Bane. Anything that applies
Lava Walker,
on hits, Lava Walker,
Suitor.
that kind of stuff will always never be snapshotted and always be applicable when it's hitting the right thing.
Yeah, because it's checking on hit.
Yes. How do you one-shot Dvalin with a Diluc plus team? Whale.
Wait, yeah, he actually has a harder time doing that compared to like Hu Tao or Ganyu.
Yeah, just because you're not doing a single large hit, he technically can, but you're trying to get it in a full combo, and he has less time to do that.
Yeah, you have to do, because you have to do the full
for...
setup for him. A well-invested Hu Tao just says fuck you, and a well-invested Hu Tao just says fuck you, and fuck, I'm not sure if I can get my ults up. Let's see.
Yeah.
Full invested Hu Tao just runs Jingcho and just goes, yep, I'm just gonna beat him to
the
death.
top of the screen is specifically for Rosaria.
Oh, thank you, 199. What's the best 4-star one for Diluc? Serpent Spine.
Serpent Spine, if you can keep it.
If you can keep a decent amount of stacks up on it, it's Serpent Spine. If not, Archaic is actually his best.
Yeah.
In fact, my Serpent Spine at max stacks deals more damage than Wolf's Gravestone would. which is funny.
How does one go about getting started in technical consulting, assuming relevant technical experience has already been acquired? It's outside necessarily my expertise.
I
technically
used
do
to
it.
be an IT consultant. How does one get started? You find clients. I did not do
Yeah.
client acquisition. My business partner did.
Time for takeoff.
So part of the reason I got out of the business because I fucking hate doing that aspect of the business.
Play's over.
Finding clients.
Yep.
I typically do it, but typically what I do is I do it as a side thing, and it's just word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
been going fairly
the trick is to find your first few clients so you have references and word of mouth to build off of. That's the hard part about consulting, is that you not only have to be proficient in the thing you're doing, you also have to be good at that aspect of the business as well.
Yeah. I think probably the only thing I regret ever doing was back when I worked at a
For
tech
Rex
place,
purpose.
a local
Here we
computer
go.
store.
Think you can get
A guy
away?
actually
Fate is upon you.
tried to scout me, and at the
Let me
time I wasn't
stop.
comfortable
No touching.
dealing with money stuff, but he scouted me for his financial business. For a financial consultancy, specifically because, not that I knew about it, because he was willing to train me on it, it was more the whole fact of I was apparently incredibly good at just covering all the bases of why everything's good.
Yeah. Best 4-star weapon for venti, no stringless. Veridescent Hunt.
Fair doesn't hunt generally, but it does depend.
No, better if you don't have a stringless.
No, even if it does depend. If you have bad crit stats going the other way, Blackclef winds up being better.
Oh right, Blackcliff exists. Right.
Yeah. How do you think a looking up? How do I think a hyper-invested Rosario will compare to other options that do the same thing, DPS or otherwise? It depends. We still need to get her for further testing to see exactly how she's going to be and what teams she does best in. Because I can see her being really good Fizz, really good Mono Cryo, or really good in something like a Melt setup. So running her kind of like Chongyun runs, just because she's got really chonky and she's probably going to have really chonky initial hits on her E and her Q and its low
Let's
cooldowns.
light it up.
But I don't think she's going to be horrible.
No, my
How do you
sword.
avoid the trap of building too many units? Don't build too many units.
Yep.
But generally, my recommendation.
Invest in your carries.
But my recommendation there is find a character you like. The thing I tell everyone in my stream is yes, efficiency is important. Yes, not hyper investing in someone to 90 out of 90 plus 13 talents is generally good for your resource management.
Unless
However,
they're a
if you
hyper carry.
don't- Even if they're not a hyper carry, if you don't have that one character that you don't care about, you're still going to get them up to that point regardless. Let's say Venti.
True.
With me, it's Clea and Beidou. They both happen to scale really well at that point, but I don't care that they scale at that point. They're just the characters I care about the most. So you have to find something that you enjoy enough in the game that you can eschew just being pure numbers on, so you can get some kind of additional kind of fun.
The reality too is that until they start making endgame content way harder, as long as you invest well into a carry, like 9-starring is reasonable.
Yeah.
So like,
And
and
even
that's
if you aren't
like on
9-starring
basically any carry. There are 9-star clears for Lisa carries, Amber carries, all that kind of shit. Like without 5-star weapons too. Like 9-starring Abyss, while it's a good metric of team power, if you've been playing since day one and have an invested carry, two invested carries, it's not too.
Random
The
stranger,
threshold is not too high.
I am not going to do that because I would be drunk before the day is over.
Oh, is it the fucking caveat thing?
Take a shot every time Jinx leaves.
Oh no, you'd be dead.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
Yeah. Double Crown Noelle can't stop me. See, that's the thing. Find a character where crowning them or leveling them up past the efficiency metric, you don't care about it. You just want to do it for that character because now you
Yeah.
have a character that you care about enough in the game.
Witness the pout
that
rain outlines your. No, my
All else
sword.
fails, you're going to try and make them better. All else fails, they're the character you're going to have fun playing around with. With me, it was Beidou. She was the one that I wanted out of all the characters just based off looks,
Let's light
back
it
from the
up.
initial launch cast. The fact that she's amazingly good, especially in the current Abyss, is there from sure. Like, if you really love Keqing, if you really love Zhongli, Hu Tao, Xiao, even beyond those, Kaya, Lisa, Amber, if you really want to go down that route, Noelle, DPS Barbara, I've seen. You can
420
make
EM
them
is
all
funny.
work.
I don't think it's actually that good.
it's probably not that good because of how little uptime it is on this comp.
No, even on like the first
However, for
rotation.
one-shots,
True, but it's like even for this comp, its first rotation power spike isn't much better than Sucrose, but Sucrose at least gets some consistent use past.
Like I'm saying, just swap Diluc for Hu Tao and you have fun time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think the issue with Hu Tao still is it'll be nice for that first power spike, but then again, you run Diona in the freeze comp anyway, so you might as well just stick Elegy on her. It's not
And
like
then
she's
on
doing
top
dick
of,
else
and then
anyway.
on top of that, that's just more damage for the ultimate to do. Bonk.
Yeah, especially because with Hu Tao, I don't like running Bennett anyway. I think the main issue with Diona with Hu Tao is that if you have a Homa, like if you're running Deathmatch, it's obviously worth it, but if you're running a Homa, like you have to trade out the Homa passive for, you have to trade out the Homa passive and your A4 for Diona EM buff. I'm not even sure if that would necessarily be a damage gain.
I mean, you have to receive a tick to get the 200 EM buff?
It has to be, you have to be over 50% for it to work.
Oh yeah, you have to be over 50%. Now the thing is how long does that last? I need to go check if it states probably does not.
Why is that hit not melting on the second guy?
Diona increases elemental mastery by 200% when above 50%. I assume it's like Bennett and it lasts 2 seconds, so it lasts the tick rate duration. That's 2 or 3 seconds there. Is Diona good on Hu Tao? Is Child possibly, but you really want C4 at that point. Or we want 5-star gamblers, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a bad team by any means.
It's not.
Like, it's not a bad team, but again, this requires a C6 Diona, and it's basically just competing with Sucrose or Alfredo or Zhongli Vape.
Hi, Jabari.
I feel like I can cut this a little bit more, but like, yeah, I don't. Even with the fact that I have a C6 Diona for this, it's still not much better than Sucrose. If it's on par with Sucrose.
Elegy bow is probably really good for one-shot setups.
Yep.
That's it.
One-shot setups, and yeah, I will probably be looking at how this works on the Hu Tao setup as well, but
possibility in electrocharge based comps because you're typically running fischl anyways, but
yeah,
it depends, and that's going to require a lot of difficult calculations. And by difficult, I mean just a lot of calculations. Is Blackcliff Serpent Spine Claymore worth it if I already have an R4 prototype Aminus? Probably, but it depends on if you want to spend those resources there or throw them into something else.
Let's light it up. Teamwork is dream.
Like, if you only have one Claymore user and you have a leveled up R4 Aminus, I don't necessarily see the point of doing it, because I don't think Skyward Serpent Spine is that big of an improvement over Aminus. Again, depending on your substats, of course. What is end-user license agreement? An end-user license agreement is the thing you sign when you start using an app or thing, so that you legally can't sue them for a bunch of stuff you otherwise probably should.
To put into context for people watching, by the way, generally my strong teams on 12.3.1 clear in 45 to 40 seconds. So this can push that, but this is basically putting a 5-star bow C6 Diona support about on par with my normal teams. So like this is not very good. Like this may look like fast clears to people, but to put it into context, my Sucrose Diluc Vape generally hits around 45 to 40 second per clear.
Makes sense. Everyone's
so like while this is it's not that great.
No. Compared to what you have.
Compared to like running a C6 Sucrose instead. Unfortunately, I can't D-C6 her to see how she works otherwise. But C6 doesn't really matter because I don't even use my ult when I run Sucrose in here. Because her ult will eat vapes.
Someone asked, Cleeful, would I be down to do a 1.4 character tier list with Jinx? I'm not particularly one for just tier lists as the thing at large, just due to how Genshin works. mainly because this game doesn't really have enough characters that fill similar roles, or doesn't have well-defined enough roles that are basically hard fixed to really make a tier list worthwhile.
Yeah, it's and basically
Fantasy
every
games I
character
play.
is good in their own context. Like
Yeah,
that's
so,
kind of the
like,
problem.
Generally, you have to find something to rate on, and even then, that makes things difficult because you're going based off how cheap is it to make them hit a certain DPS threshold, or how much are you doing stuff here, or how cheap is it to run a specific team that's good with them, which in turn makes Diluc, makes potentially Hu Tao, and a few other characters scale higher potentially on the tier list than they otherwise might need to be, but at the same time, they could also wind up being lower. It's very much range focused.
Yeah,
It's not like
there's also just the reality too, is that when you actually do full team comp analyses, like calculations on teams, with a few outlier exceptions, at C0s, basically every good team's within like 10% of each other. 10 to 20% of each other. Like Zhongling, Jingqiu Vape is within 10% of Chao. Zhongling Vape is in 10% of like Ning Guang Alfredo single target. Is within 10% of like Kaching Electro Queen. Is within 10% of like fucking Bennett Vape melts, or Klee reverse melts, or like. And the main outliers at C0 are like Diluc Vape is a little bit higher than others, and like Ganyu is like higher than that. And like Hu Tao Vape is like within that Diluc to Ganyu level, depending on your animation canceling skill.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Zhao is like around that Kaching level and sustain, or can spike up to around that Diluc level if you get like 2 Q wipes and shit like that.
Scrolling up, better weapon for Beto sub DPS. R5 Lithic Blade max stacks, or R1 Wolf Gravestone. Lithic Blade, so long as you can maintain keeping her ultimate up. Otherwise, ER weapons would typically do better. But yeah, R5 Lithic Blade will beat R1 Wolf Gravestone.
Like, if I were
most
to
of the
do a
time.
new tier list, there'd be like a handful of SS characters, and then everyone else would be S or A tier, with the exception of like maybe even Barbara is still useful because Cheap Dragon Slayer's healer. Like, except maybe and Chong Yun has like value at high damage team, in like very high damage teams and upfront burst teams. And as specifically as an enabler. I think the only one I could think of who would be like a B tier would be like Lisa.
Or
and like
Animo MC?
non C2. No, Animo MC is still good because you get free cons on her.
Oh yeah, that on him, yeah.
Yeah, and like maybe non C2 Jinyan, because she just doesn't really do anything super well until she's C2. Even then, like as a Fizz carry, she's no Razor, but she's decent.
Yeah.
Guess we can rest a bit.
She's like at least like around like Beto carry or Zhongling CP carry, like Fizz
Black
output.
Sword R4 or Deathmatch R2. I'd personally go Black Sword R4, but that's just because I've never pulled a Deathmatch and have no need to.
Like every unit in this game is good. What matters more is your comps.
Yeah.
Like comps are what matter, and then how invested your carry is. And not even your carry, just your highest DPS unit is.
Yep.
Because like
have Warbow support for a 12-second attack buff with a cooldown afterwards.
Teamwork is rank cutter.
Saffron, don't understand your particular question. Jean or Diona, who's the better healer? I'd put them at equal tier.
Jean or Diona? It just depends on team. I think Diona fits into more comps than Jean does, but Jean provides more. But Jean provides more damage. Like the reason why I run instructors on Diona half the time is because her damage is non-existent even with investment. To be completely honest, so like I run her as a utility bot for the team.
Do I think I'll do a Rosaria Impresario? 1000%. Which is just my first impressions.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah.
I will as
100%.
well, of course, and be doing a lot of testing on her day one.
Rank cutter. Know my sword. Know my sword.
Jean's fall damage trick though? Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's all better than other people, because now you have to spend more time on field as her. And sure, it's a lot of damage, but it depends on what you're looking to do. You're also talking to a guy who has like a level 70 Jean that's kind of okayishly geared, but a level 80 Diona with a 90 sack bow that's R5 stuff. Speaking of, I'm going to find something absolutely hilarious. I pulled a child going for constellations or just going for a cryo 4-star character. Guess what I'm going to be doing in 3 weeks?
That's...
Getting child
Oh
costs.
god, yeah, I have to like
Going for
decide, like,
cryo
am I going to aim for a C6 rose? And if I do, how many fucking childs am I gonna get?
I've already specifically stated to my chat, I am not throwing any constellations into child unless he spooks me to C4. In which case I will then use him
I was about to
because I will
say,
be using him on Ganyu Freeze.
it's about to say C4 child is interesting because it enables more shit.
Specifically just, I'm not mechanically adept enough to make good use of just pure Mona Freeze comp. So having C4 child in that comp will be incredibly useful for me.
Look at you, Booze
But that's like a unique case there. Specific. Jinx, didn't you say that Bennett and Gina are the only heroes that aren't going to be power crept anytime soon? Diona's in there too.
No, I'd say Diona can be crept fairly easily.
That's true.
Her utility is replaceable. That being said, as currently it stands, I just use Diona in a lot more teams. Her shield utility is a lot more useful. Her the fact that she works well with instructors is very useful. The fact that she also can enable cryo for like tiny bursts is really useful. Like, she's not gonna be providing solo permafreeze or anything, but she can freeze for big busts like I'm doing right now with freezing for Diluc's ult for big burst amounts. She can apply superconduct very consistently. She's the OTP with Razor. Just in general, his core is him plus Diona. Like, she's actually pretty good. She's just the definition of a creepable unit because her utility can be crept by a unit who has her utility but more damage, because Diona doesn't do a lot of damage. But she's really useful as a low field time, like, utility support. Which also makes her creep down in terms of swap teams, and Jean's just better for swap teams. But, like, the entire sentiment that was really popular in early Genshin of swap teams being better than carry teams has kind of fallen apart, because Ganyu, Diluc, Xiao, and Hu Tao exist, making hyper carry teams just perform better than swap teams generally do, unless you have a full level 90 swap team.
You should really bring the Knights of Favonius with you next time.
Teamwork is witness the power. Sketch. Diona, step.
Damn it. I don't even think I should bother, like, doing my E on Diona. I think it's just better to just ult and immediately vape that ult. Is it more about a Pyro Diona or another element? It's more just that, like, she's always going to be useful for superconduct teams because she provides enough cryo for superconduct teams, but outside of superconduct teams, she can be power crept by a better cryo healer or by a better shield healer, honestly. It's just the fact that she provides so much utility from her base kit with, like, the shields, the cryo application, and then the ability to actually heal, the ability to, like, have controlled low heals. But she can be power crept by a better shielder healer, basically. It's just she's one of the only two sources of good shielding we have in the game right now, and I don't count Noelle, because Noelle should not really be in your team unless she's a carry. But like her and Dongli are the only good sources of shields right now, and shields are becoming much more useful because like they enable low healing teams. Like Dongli is a lot more popular than he used to be because the new Abyss is a lot easier to not die in comparatively. Bop, bop, bop.
Everybody stand. Witness the power of Gugwa. Know my sword. Look at you, Boozy.
Verdict is... Ha! Ha! Ya! Ha! Ya!
Everybody stand back. Rain cutter.
Ha! Ha! Burn! Ha!
Everybody stand. Diona special. Know my sword.
Ha! Ha!
Let me weave you up.
Yeah, this team is probably about on the same power level as my Diluc Vape teams, but it requires a 5-star bow and C6 Diona. So I don't think this is a particularly good use case for it. Like, I'm struggling to push sub 50, but most of my good runs on other teams are sub 50s with around 50 to 55, so it's clearing about on par with like Sucrose or Alfredo or Dong Li variations of the team, but this is also with a C6 Diona buff, so yeah. Let's try Hu Tao instead. And like Hu Tao's more traditional vape team. This could probably push Hu Tao clears pretty nicely. Let me check something real quick in Geo. If I have 100 EM buff, is there a better set? Even then, it's probably due to uptime issues. I probably shouldn't run that, but I'm just kind of curious. Let's just give you a buff of 40% attack because of Elegy. And a flat 100 extra EM. Actually, no, Instructors will be active too. So 220 EM. And let's see where you end up. Be right back, so I have to use the bathroom real quick.
I have returned. Stream is paused. Can anyone do a summary? Simple summary, unless you know what you're doing, Elegy is not worth the pull. Alley Flash has some niche use cases where it could be potentially very good. And the rest of the weapons have their own unique use cases, but unless you're gunning for something specific, it's not the most amazing thing. And then Venti's Venti. Ah, okay. Let's say, hypothetically, you have a C3 Chi-Chi, because you lost 50-50s. Well, rest in peace, first of all. Chi-Chi's not bad, it's just she doesn't scale amazingly well with stuff. But what does she get? She could be pretty decent as like a Skyward Harp or Elegy? Skyward Harp. Hands down. If you have C3 Chi-Chi, I'd honestly use her as a cryo DPS if you wanted to utilize her fully and pair her with Chongyun. Does Gene C2 make her on par with Bennett? If that's the attack speed steroid that she gets, it could potentially get her somewhere, but generally speaking, you're not auto-attacking enough where 15% makes enough of a difference. Bennett buff gives like 800 to 1200 attack, depending on how well invested you are in him.
Nope, that's exactly the same. Okay. Even with the EM buff. Cool. I was just checking on Geo real quick if with the Instructors and Elegy if I should adjust my set at all, but it's still exactly the same.
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, because this set gives me 168 EM off the bat, so.
Speaking of, I don't know where the hell they managed to find it, but I went up 40 points on my credit score.
Yeet.
790 to 830.
Damn. Yeah, I have to repair my credit thanks to many bad
decisions
when I was manic and in my early 20s.
Understandable.
Although either I can either talk to the credit bureau, credit reporting bureaus to remove my one current black mark, or I have to wait 3 years for that at this point because my credit history has been pristine since then. But so that you can negotiate with them to take those black marks off early instead of waiting the full 7 years. But we'll see.
Yep. But I was
again.
repairing bad decisions I made when I was young. When I played gacha games, I made bad decisions back then. How good is Melt Bennett? Pretty good. Haha, early 20s mania, very relatable content. How does Elegy EM builds with Albedo passive look? The problem is at that point is you're running an archer that has to use Elegy. You're running Albedo, so now you've got only 2 units to make use of the EM. At that point, is the EM buff you're gaining worth losing team DPS potentially?
Okay.
Best 4-star for Venti. It's not out yet, but generally, I'm going to say Alley Hunter. But we don't have it yet.
At R0.
Because
as I recall,
As
I recall, Alley and Stringless are basically neck and neck with Alley coming out ahead, but it's based on refinements.
It is based on refinements, but equal refinements, it's equivocal. It is about 2% better than Stringless.
Oh boy.
I have seen it go as high as 10% better, but we're talking like best substats you can possibly have. We're talking perfect substats at that point.
Makes sense.
We're talking perfect rolls on 4-lion artifacts. Also, specifically in the 2v2 noblesse versus 4v versus
Man, if only
I
you
will
were
be
leveled up
touching on
Alley
that in my
Flash.
video. But generally speaking, 4v does more damage, assuming same or slightly worse substats. If you get the swirl off with the element, if you don't get the VV debuff, it's worse.
In this team, I think Jingsho actually is able to run his attack setup instead.
Is double animal Venti Eugene plus Klee and Ganyu good? Yes. It's a fun team, trust me.
Oh
I
yeah,
run it.
that sounds like a fun team. I cannot speak. Fortunately, Cleve was here because I literally cannot talk about Klee teams. I don't play Klee. She's the only unit I don't play in this game.
Funny, Diluc's the only unit I don't play in this game.
Lol.
That and Kaching, but that's just because I have Lisa, I have Fischl, and I have Beidou all built. I have zero need for her.
Okay, God, this is so tempting. I want it so bad. Dash Tower is fun, but
How good is Alley Flash on Benny Boy? Alley Flash on Benny Boy is the only 4-star weapon in the game capable of pushing him past 1,000 gifted attack, which is the break point for Homa Hu Tao. I can't remember what refinement of Homa, but it's the only 4-star weapon that lets him beat out Homa Hu Tao buff.
Yep.
Best team for Klee? Personal favorite team for
Actually,
Klee?
is it still 1,000? Because at least for my particular one, I calced it as 13. I calced it at 1,300 for my Hu Tao. But then again, my Hu Tao with Homa has 29k HP, so. Oh, real quick, Tanakura did tip $10. Thank you so much. I super duper appreciate your content. Reminder to not spend money you can't afford. Of course, a reminder. Yeah, don't spend money you can't afford, guys. It's, it's a game. If you have disposable income, sure, but it's a fun game without spending money. In a setting where whaling is normally encouraged, it's nice to see someone fighting. I for that. Luckily, I can afford this, so have at it. And thanks for the informative videos. Thank you so much, Tanakura. Much appreciated.
Yep, many thanks, man.
But yeah.
But
okay. Hu Tao time.
Someone's unknown person. I don't know if that's your username or not. If it is, that's pretty cool that you've actually got that. But on Venti, assuming
Time for the
equal
fun
substats,
pyro carry.
when does EM sands beat attack percent sands when Venti's green attack number is more than 112% base attack? I don't like using that number, but that's just me, just because it's really, really wonky. Generally speaking, if they're equal substats, once you start going past, I think it's 75 150 or 80 160 crit, attack winds up being better than EM. But again, that's also dependent on enemy level. Because if we get enemies that are level 110 or 120, all of a sudden Swirl is better again, because it doesn't lose damage based on enemy level, whereas your normal damage does. Which is why Swirl is so good. Swirl does not get hit with defense reductions.
I fucking missed my Xingqiu. No, my rotation is ruined.
Best team for Klee, I don't know what the best one is for her, but my personal favorite is Klee, fischl, Venti, and Bennett.
I think her best C0 team is generally, if you have like spread investment, is generally considered to be what's it called? Reverse melt.
Reverse melt, yeah.
Yeah, just because Vape requires you to do some really funky shit combo-wise.
Yeah, that's why I don't run Vape. I particularly run Overload, which is essentially a Taser team. It's the team I've had the most fun in. Also, because Overloads are explosions. And that's just kind of Klee's modus operandi.
I should probably be paying more attention. I'm actually eating shit right now.
Level 110 and level 120 enemies, we don't know. Like, I went and did math because I thought that defense percent reduction might become a valuable stat if, let's say, they throw us a new boss and the boss is considered level 1000. And all it is they scale the boss around being level 1000 and having that much defense. And then defense reductions would just massively close that gap, being really big DPS increases. They're not. They aren't at all.
Wait, why does my Diona not have ults? Wait, what? Oh, okay, she does. It just had the UI glitch.
Yeah. How about Team Klee plus fischl C6? If you have Venti, 100%. It's super fun. May not be her best team, but it's hella fun, and it provides so much stagger value if you're fighting, let's say, Fatui.
Well, I feel like Elegy's fucking power spike is way better on Hu Tao so far.
Yeah. It's noticeable, isn't it?
Still don't think it's worth pulling for this shit, but if you have one, it's not bad in this team.
Yeah. When running Dragon's Bane on Vape Hu Tao, is EM Sand still better than HP? No. Generally not, but it depends on your substat. But we're talking like a perfectly rolled EM Hourglass versus like an HP Hourglass with crit damage, and that's it.
Yeah, I remember the initial impressions being that it was better to run EM Sands on Hu Tao.
But we're specifically talking Dragon's Bane, which also comes with a
Yeah,
bunch of
exactly, but you already have Dragon's Bane, so...
What is Klee combo with Xingqiu? You're typically doing 2 normals followed by 2 charge attacks. Is typically how it goes, though there are other ways to do it. The main problem is, and this is the reason why Klee DPS is worse than Hu Tao and Diluc, is because she can't vape her ultimate. The moment we get a second Xingqiu, so Klee can vape everything she does, I'm pretty sure the ceiling I calculated had her higher than Diluc.
Yeah. No, if you could manage to vape everything on Klee, she has the highest MVS out of any pyro carry.
Yeah.
She has the highest MVS, although MVS does not paint the whole picture, especially with Hu Tao, because she gets so much fucking attack.
Yeah.
Like, this is assuming not adjusted for attack, yeah.
If you guys don't know about that stuff, you can always hit up my channel, Critical Frames. I got a video on motion values and why they aren't the whole picture.
Literally just put it out.
Yeah, it was like yesterday or the day before. And
oh fuck, that guy's too far away, isn't he?
An example of Diluc versus other stuff. Why is triple pyro Klee? That's why triple pyro Klee is key. Yes, triple pyro Klee. I think Klee is still the best in that combo. I could be wrong, but I think she is.
Yeah, no, Diluc and Hu Tao both are kind of reliant on their vapes.
Yeah.
So triple pyro is a bit problematic for them.
Klee doesn't care. It's just okay. I can just sit around and.
I just do a big number. Klee, I do a big number. It don't matter that I can't vape. I make thing go boom.
Yeah. How good is Diluc, fischl, albedo, venti? Haven't run it. Can't say for certain. Doesn't sound too bad. What are my thoughts on child reverse vape damage ceiling versus Diluc vape? Higher damage during uptime, but child has problem where doesn't have full uptime. So depending on how rotation
idiot
works,
attacking
it can be
a
higher
flower.
or lower. Ningguang main DPS team without Zhongli or Albedo. run GeoMC, you need that resonance.
Yep. If you're running
So the
Geo,
Nubo isn't
you want
work? No.
resonance. Generally speaking, if you're
Taunt
running
work
Geo,
now?
get
This
resonance.
is specifically the taunt on Ganyu. She has the best taunt in the game.
Ring cutter, no,
I
my
still
sword.
think Beidou should have the best taunt in the game, just because she says eyes on me and then disappears, so they should be confused for like
Yes,
2 or
it's
3
amazing.
seconds. Like, could you imagine if she swaps out within a second, enemies just stop aggroing for like 1 second? Just whatever they're doing, they just stop.
Yeah, some of it she got a shield up.
Bully me?
Cool it.
Fucked up my combos a bit.
Let me weave you a verse.
Too bad.
Out of your dream.
It's just this shield is such a pain to break with Hu Tao. Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
this, I'm resetting.
Yeah.
I fucked up my charge combos a little bit, and she got to pop her shield, and it's just such a pain. You waste so much of Hu Tao's E trying to break that fucking
Does
shield.
we run in reverse melt teams? I'm pretty sure you run Ganyu and or Kaya.
It's Ganyu plus Kaya or Kaya plus Chongyun. They're both good.
Or yeah, they're both good there.
Yeah. Because you run, it's basically Klee, Bennett, and then generally your double cryo is Kaya Chongyun. You can run Ganyu, it's just I am still on principle against ever using Ganyu as a support because she's the best carry in the game. But
that's what makes her such a good support.
yeah, because like even though her MVS is worse than Kaya's, her effective attack is like 60% higher because she's the best carry in the game and has carry stats.
And then you just replace Bennett with Venti, and her MVS becomes ludicrous.
Pretty much, but yeah, reverse melt Klee is generally with you either run Bennett or you run Sucrose, because Sucrose can fairly easily VV both Cryo and Pyro on that setup.
Yeah, it's just in that particular comp, you're reliant on Klee not being your own main source of damage, which is why it typically
It's more expensive.
It's more expensive
'Cause
than
yeah.
Vapor.
The split on that team ends up being like what? Like it's like 40, it's like 40, 25, 25 roughly, or 40, 30, 20 between like
Or what, Diluc?
between like Klee's damage is like 40, Kaya's ends
Yeah.
up being around 30, Chong is about 20, and then the last
I think Chong's more around 15, depending on whether or not you triple melt.
the
his,
idea is to triple melt his off of
Yeah.
a Klee E basically.
And even then,
um,
like, we're going 40, 30, 20, which is...
Is
80%,
more
or
expensive.
rather 10% is from, like, Bennett.
Yeah, versus like, you know, versus like a Diluc Vape team where Diluc's like 80% of his fucking damage, which is what makes hyper investing him so good. Or a Hu Tao team where you're like 90% of your damage, so that's what makes Hu Tao so good for hyper investments.
How you would build a Gene... How would you build a Gene Venti comp without any other 5 stars, especially for the current 412? I run it everywhere but 412?
Look at you, Boozle.
It's not bad,
Frostbite.
just
Time to go.
the level of skill you need to have in properly landing Venti ultimates on the things that don't like to be sucked into Venti ultimates is incredibly high. At least from my personal opinion. Melt does 200% bonus damage when Pyro is the one damaging. A reverse melt would be the opposite. When
Yep,
Cryo
forward
does
melt
melting,
versus reverse melt. 2
I
times versus
personally don't like
1.5.
those terms. It's personally why I call them strong and weak melts. Because it makes more sense. One
Yeah,
does
that's fair.
strong damage,
I think
one weak.
forward melt was just kind of the result of us already calling 1.5's reverses. So it's like I guess the other one's forward because keep it
I'm
consistent.
the only one who didn't, because when you first put out that tweet with the reverse melt, I was
Yeah.
in the Discord like, no, he doesn't mean that he's just talking about Pyro being the source of the vape. He's specifically talking about reverse being the source of the vape is not on field.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that it was Pyro being the vape source, it was the fact that Child was on field supplying the aura.
Do I want? In fact, I think I want Hu Tao over 50 for this because of the 420 Diona EM buff.
Yeah.
Normally, I try to get her low for the A4, but A4 is worth dropping for 200 extra EM on this.
Oh, yes it is.
Meh.
What exactly is reversed melt? Yeah.
God damn it, really?
Delved into death. Brace yourselves.
Give me
Melted
Bennett
just-
out. I want funny big
Think you can
rotation.
get away? Written in the stars.
Reverse melt is Cryo is the trigger.
Born of ice and frost.
So you apply Pyro on the enemy and then you smack them with a Chongyun ultimate. Is it possible to triple melt Chongyun's ultimate with Klee as the aura? It is possible. You just have to throw a bit. You just have to throw a bouncing bomb and then Chung Yun E, and then hope and pray that the third bomb bounce hits in between the three swords. Ming
Now
5-star.
we watch them die.
In theory,
Ganyu Venti is a balanced combination with nothing wrong with it at all.
yeah. Best 5-star. In if possible, Skyward Atlas. Though there are cases where Lost Prayer can beat Atlas, but that's more fixing your broken stats rather than being a better weapon. If you have 20 crit rate and 180 crit damage, Lost Prayer is a better option than Skyward Atlas. But like, you have other issues if you're at 180 crit damage and only 20% crit chance.
Yeah, if you have a ridiculously screwed ratio. Generally, though, Skyward Atlas is just the best 5-star catalyst.
It is.
In general.
It is the best star. It is the best 5-star catalyst. And
It's the Skyward Harp of
opinion,
catalysts.
It is, in my opinion, tied for top 5-star weapon. Period. With the other one being Skyward Harp.
Yep, Skyward Harp. Harp and Atlas are just kind of nuts. Although there are the specific use cases of Amos and Hova on Hu Tao and Ganyu.
Yeah,
But those are specific cases where the weapon is tailored for that character.
exactly.
Silly churl, Billy churl,
Billy, Billy, Hilly, Churl. Ooh.
Spoopy.
Spoopy.
Harp is nutty. Having both crit chance and crit damage on the same weapon is dumb.
Cool it.
Honestly, the funny thing is
Oh shit, I fucked up my rotation.
Frostbite.
Eh,
your
whatever.
Alley Hunt is worse off than when it was in beta, and it's still really good. 'Cause,
I mean, it's one of the cases where the nerf makes sense.
oh, it makes sense because it was literally just a mini Skyward Harp.
Rain cutter, rain
Crit
outlines.
chance, crit damage.
Dodge
What more could you ask for? And the thing is it gains more crit chance than Skyward Harp.
Higher, can't fight fire.
Because as we know with Deathmatch, Type 41...
That was a
crit
really
chances are
unclean
lost.
42, so that's not bad.
Yeah,
It's not bad here. Yeah.
No?
Hu Tao, I think, is probably... I think this Hu Tao, for like a non-whale one rotation setup, I think this is the best use case for Elegy, honestly.
Yep.
But this is such a
It's-
fucking niche case, and it's a 5-star weapon pull, which... Even if you have a 50-50 to get a 5-star weapon pull on like $356, so Elegy's not fucking worth pulling for, but if you happen to have one, this is a good use case for it.
Don't get why Venti is a must pull. He's not a must pull. There's not a single character in the game that is a must pull.
In my opinion, him and Bennett are, but everyone has differing opinions on what's a must pull versus
my
not.
opinion isn't that he's a must pull. Like, I think we have the same value in terms of how valuable he is.
Yeah, I just
come from
define
a
him
place-
as that, yeah.
Yeah, I just come from a place where I saw a unit in a gacha game that I had.
Yeah, you have more gacha experience, so you have more gacha experience than I do, so you have a much, I guess you would say you have a more conservative view on like
Not
units.
even that, it's more my experience, because
Yeah.
I had one unit that was the one role in a game where roles are very important that I had not filled, because none of the free-to-plays actually filled it at any point at all, and we got a
Kind of like
global
having a good
exclusive-
healer in this game.
Yes,
Free to play
and we
healer's
got a-
ass.
and the game was about a year behind Japan release. However, we got a global exclusive unit that they didn't, and it was better than anything they had. It was best in slot. So, of course, all the reviewers, this is a must pull. I had $200 in my bank account. $800 later, I still didn't have the unit.
Oof. At least we have guarantee at 356.
Here,
on this
yeah, in that game,
but
in that game, character banners were weapon banners.
Yeah, if we didn't have guaranteed pulls on 5-star units, I would not call anything a must pull for sure.
Yeah, and even then, I don't call it a must pull just due to the fact that that can mentally get to somebody who's in those particular situations that can wind up spending money that they don't necessarily have. And sure,
yeah,
you
that's
can
fair. I
copy
guess
on
maybe
it.
like a top pull option would be a
Yeah,
better way to
he
put it.
is the top pull. He is
Yeah,
the
Venti and
best.
Bennett are
yeah.
the two top pulls in the game.
Honestly,
And if
honestly,
Bennett was a 5-star, I would probably not even consider him that. It's just the fact that he's a 4-star, so.
I honestly think he's better than Venti just because he's a 4-star and so universally useful.
Yes, I just think that Bennett's more creepable. Because all we really need is an equivalent or better attack buffer.
Yeah.
Venti, on the other hand, the degree of broken a unit would have to be to like creep Venti, they would not only have to somehow equate to his raw utility on the team, they'd also have to beat him in damage.
Or they would have to beat him enough in one of the particular
Or one of the
categories.
use case utilities, yeah.
So, like, if we just have a character that's capable of being a Sucrose ultimate that has permanent uptime,
Yeah,
there's a
fair,
case
fair.
made to break him there, but he'll still probably have more damage.
Yeah, unless we have something that literally groups an entire Abyss floor no matter
Would you
where
say
they
Zhongli
are.
is top pull. Zhongli is as close to top pull as can be without being there, because only Bennett and Venti sit there.
Yeah,
Zhongli is right underneath, along with Jingcho and Beidou, in my personal opinion.
I don't
So,
consider
Jingcho's more
Beidou unless you're C2ing personally, but
Yeah.
I feel like Beidou needs C2 to really be in that level.
She's still really good. It's still like 600%. 600%.
She is, but it's 600% with 4-star stat scaling. It's still good, but like,
Yeah,
it's still
really
good.
depends.
But yeah, Beidou is one of those cases I feel like where raw MVS can be deceiving because she has like mid-range 4-star stat scaling.
Jevrich, I don't know exactly what Jink's going to be doing, but I believe he's going to at least release some videos along with Tuner on Monster Hunter Math in Rise. 'cause I'm
Oh yeah,
pretty sure
definitely.
there are a lot
I'm
different.
planning on playing it. Oh shit, when does it come out? It comes out in like a week, right?
Week or something like that. I
Yeah.
was also planning on.
But I am still gonna focus personally mostly on Genshin because, like, for me specifically, I prefer the gameplay and the puzzles and everything in Genshin over Monster Hunter.
Just because Monster Hunter, once you figure out the puzzle, there's no better
Yeah,
answer.
there's nothing else. Like, once you figure out the meta sets, that's it.
We
But
would
for
be
Genshin-
at the Monster Hunter where the weapons are the gacha currency. But
Yeah,
like,
like
the last-
every 3 fucking weeks, there's new shit for me to figure out in Genshin. Even then, there's still new shit for us to figure out. Like, you know, right now, Turbo has been being delved into more, even though it's been in since patch 1.0. Like,
on Switch, there's a Steam version coming out in 2021. We're still going to wind up playing it on the Switch.
yeah.
Who do you take us for? We both came from Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I just haven't
People
pre-ordered
have
it yet
a key
personally
guide
because I
anywhere?
guarantee that I'm gonna have a.
Hint, hint, I'm saving the Klee guide for when Klee gets a rerun, because that's when everyone's going to be going to YouTube and searching up Klee.
Real question is, what's more valuable, Kaya forward melts or EM buff? I'd say Kaya forward melts, so Diona second. Oh wait, Diona has to wait 4 seconds anyway, so yeah, Diona second makes more sense. Alright.
Yep.
Gotta wait for Jingcho. Fuck it.
When are
they gonna make it so that
please,
weapon
a video
passives are already
explaining it.
active in Abyss? I don't want to have to wait for sex swords.
Yeah. What is Turbo? Please, a video explaining it. I get to drop this card. I have a video explaining
Yeah,
it.
go to Cleeful Frames.
YouTube.
YouTube, search
For
Cleeful
YouTube,
Frames.
Search Cleeful Frames. I have a video on Turbo.
It reminds
That's a
me.
card joke.
Actually, you know what? I'm doing this right now before I forget, because I'm gonna fucking forget. I'm putting your channel in the defaults for future videos, because I keep forgetting to add it.
No worries.
Yeah, Cleeful Frames. Also, you can buy some really beautiful frames made out of mahogany. If you, according to Google. Behold,
I thought you
canvas
were making-
floater picture frame, gold.
I thought you were making a Dragon Ball Z abridged reference.
I was. It's mahogany. God, that I haven't watched that shit in like a decade. Mahogany. But yeah.
And then
it's
he's like, okay, I'm gonna go now. Mahogany.
mahogany. Oh god, good shit. All right, let's see. Where
Super Vape is being patched, right? Yes, it is.
Oh, absolutely. Just have fun with it while you can, but it's being patched.
Yeah.
Upload defaults. Where's list of friends shit, kek mains, child mains. Okay, we'll put it right here. Cleeful frames channel. Bam. Save.
So
okay, it's an
Venti is
upload
in a
defaults
month
now.
poll when you'd Sam. I have a feeling someone
Witness the
typoed.
power. Huh? No, my soul.
And the Hu Tao song gets annoying after a while. It's possible.
I love it. I will never get
I
tired
don't
of it.
have her.
But I like spoopy things, so.
Yeah, you like her, whereas you completely hate Klee. I'll never get enough of Klee. specifically her audio design. I'm lucky. I have a cousin that sounds a lot like her.
Witness the power of. I let my guard down.
Fuck.
Oh,
Rain outlines.
Well,
the
rip
perfect
run,
plan.
but regardless.
Look at you.
yeah.
Oh wait, I
Well,
actually
does-
just realized I probably don't even need the second one, do I?
Does the artifact
It's not up
optimizing site
anyway.
also consider EM and swirl when calculating best RDs for venti?
It does not.
I don't think so yet. Again, this is currently a one-man or a two-man project, and they started like 3 months ago.
Yeah, so you can sort. So you can sort it by venti alt tick damage or EM.
Yeah.
You can't sort by both right now. So it's
Right now.
unfortunately.
They're going to improve it. My best
Yeah.
recommendation, if you want it to get better, go hit the $2. I believe they have a $1 or a $2 tier on their Patreon. Go hit them up. Anything.
Go
that
donate.
you can do
Ching
to support
ching.
them.
Cha-ching.
The more that you donate, the more it makes sense to them that they're going to continue doing it, because they're not entirely sure if they're going to keep it in web yet or if they're going to make it into a .exe. So the more you can support them, the more he can potentially
here.
find help elsewhere.
You can donate on the PayPal's, or you can join them on the Patreons. Haha, see? Fred Zhao.
Best non-Bennett support to invest in, Diona.
Ba-ba-bum, ba-bum,
If we're talking 4
ba-ba-bum.
stars, my opinion would
Go
be
give
Diona.
them money so they can keep making cool things.
Have you read the description of the $2 tier yet?
No, I have not actually.
Go read it. Go read it. It's great.
Ba-ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da. Eventually, this will be ready.
Wanna come over for tea?
I also wonder if instead of Diona here, I could run healerless with fischl.
It's possible.
I feel like Super Vape, fischl, Diluc
I am
Vape
fischl.
might be a case for
yeah.
this. Jeez. Internet does not want to load this.
The Princess in Divertulin.
Resistant
But,
Divertulin. I've heard from German speakers her pronunciation is terrible, which makes
It
sense
is,
because she only knows the shit from reading it herself.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Verteilen. So you actually pronounce the I in there.
Rain cutter. No, my sword.
At least from the one German speaker that I've been with.
Diona special. Shake it.
Dodge this. Oh, so sorry.
Is it currently worth it to use 2 Pyro DPS teams in Abyss? Currently, yeah. Use what you want to use.
I mean, it works right now because this Abyss is especially
Don't be
kind
stupid.
on that shit.
Don't get frostbite.
I mean,
Rain outlines
at
your
the same
fate.
time, I'm okay. As a German speaker, it probably hurts you, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure they don't use the German pronunciation if you swap to a different language.
Shit, what was the time on that? I wasn't even paying attention. That was definitely sub 40 though. Let's see.
I'm taking a look at the stream right now.
Ooh,
You're
39.
Nice.
39 is not bad. Considering that my
Kinda.
my fastest clear time for this this exact team is 36 seconds. I'm pretty sure I can push sub 34 with the Elegy buff.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's like clay. So it's not clay, but clay. Like it, higher EH is the other version you can use for clay.
Clee. I don't know. I so like there's like the whole I feel like when it comes to like your compatibility with a person, right? There are two
clay. And
there are
even
two
then- even in
definite
German-
scales.
Yeah.
One is like the creepy cute scale, and
Yeah.
the creepy cute scale, like I feel like one of the ways you can tell how compatible you are with another person, whether it's friendship wise or romantically, is when they do things whether you consider it creepy or cute.
Yeah.
Because like for example, my now wife, when we first started dating, we flirted at like a pick-up tabletop role-playing game. I convinced her to make our characters. We use our own homebrew setting. Or homebrew system, sorry, homebrew system. It's really good for pickup games because it's a very quick character creation.
Okay.
And it's much more like improv heavy for the DM.
Yeah. Makes sense,
yeah.
makes sense.
So I convinced Jenny to have our characters be cousins. Oh, cool. We got a $5 super chat. Thank you. I'm Jovi. I'll finish the story real quick though. So
Yeah.
basically, we played as cousins in this tabletop role-playing game, and then we started flirting, and then afterwards we kissed outside her car, and I forgot to get her phone number, but then Jenny had our mutual friend Alex, who was the guy who officiated our wedding, had him give her my phone number, and I thought that was cute instead of creepy. But for a lot of people, that might be a creepy thing.
Creepy.
Yeah, it might be considered a creepy thing. So I feel like a lot of the compatibility is where the person's quirks and ticks and whatnot kind of fall on the creepy cute scale for you. And for me, Hu Tao is very much on the cute side. Like her little singing about the hilly churls and like the nursery rhymes and shit, it's on the cute side for me. But for a lot of people, it's on the creepy or annoying side.
I haven't even done her story mission yet, so I can't say whether I like her or not.
You've been pranked. I don't know what that is in Chinese or Japanese, but she literally says that in English.
No, I've seen only that from her entire story, and it's just okay. Depending on what she does for the prank, either I'm going to like her or I'm going to absolutely hate her.
Fair.
There's no in between. So the question: if I have R1 Viridus and Hunt, R2 Stringless, R1 Favonius Bow, and R2 Proto Crescent, and I own every bow user in the game, do I have anyone I can use Elegy on? Potentially Diona.
So far,
would be the best
yeah,
there.
without high refinements, I feel like the other options might not be worth it. Maybe fischl on some teams.
Yeah.
Like, Venti, I'm not sold it's worth the DPS loss on him if you have access to stringless. Or Hunt, for that matter. I'm not sold it's worth the DPS loss on Venti unless you're running him as a cheaper end support. But if you are investing in him, which you should be, because he's the most worth support to invest in, basically.
Like simple synopsis, let me just pull up my Venti sheet, because I have the actual numbers there. At talent level 6, and motion values are not the whole picture, so take this with a grain of salt, but his ultimate is 1052% animo damage, so long as you're hitting every tick, and you're getting another
half of
400 of that from infused element, because you only get 15 ticks.
Right. Instead of 17. Instead of
and then you're also swirling 7 times, which can be up to 14 ticks of swirl damage. And sure, it doesn't seem like much, but when you're
it's 14 ticks.
But it's 14 ticks, where your swirl damage, fine. Swirl only does, let's say, 1200 damage with your EM.
Venti is literally the only unit in the game who investing in swirl is actually pretty good returns.
Other than the unit, which is mini Venti, which is Animo MC, but that's because Animo MC is mini Venti.
Yep. And your charge E gets a lot of ticks.
Your charge E gets a lot of ticks, and the funny thing is, I think he has a higher tick rate to motion value on his Q as well.
Witness the
I think he ticks 5 times, but it lasts 6 seconds instead of 8 seconds.
Dodge this.
So it's 5 over 6 versus 6 over 8 or something like that. So it's really, really close. I don't need to deal with masseuse stuff because they're currently closed.
Let me weave you a verse. Think you can bully?
Scroll down, list down to the bottom. So EM is still better on Venti? No, that's the thing. EM. People keep going, is EM better for Venti or is attack better for Venti? The answer isn't one or the other. It's very much, it depends based on your investment. EM is cheap, because you throw 3 EM main stats, you give him R1 stringless, you level him up
seconds,
to 80.
Not bad. I might as well save that run.
Not bad. You level him up to 80, you level the weapon up, maybe never, and you can leave him at talent level 1, and most of his damage is already accounted for.
Yep.
However, you're getting him to talent level 6 on his E and his Q. Get him to talent level 8 on his E and his Q. You decide to crown him, and you should go attack.
Yeah, I'm also just kind of a big proponent of, regardless, if you ever intended investing in Venti, which you should, just stick with attack and crit. Tony, fuck off. Also cute damaging. Fuck off, Tony. Motherfucker over here with his small lucky whale, fucking C3 Diluc, like R5 gravestone motherfucker, without having spent that much more I think he spent less money than I have at this point because I have to pull every unit. Tony's 5-star pull luck is insane.
What's the truth behind Venti lifting off enemies? If the enemy is more than 20 levels difference between Venti and not, Venti cannot pull them off the ground into his ultimate. However,
Unless
do
they get
not-
knocked into it.
unless they get knocked into the air into it, in which case they will then stay. Which is partly bad because Diluc can knock enemies back, which can then knock them up, which then puts them in the ultimate. It's finicky. So it is potentially good for a specific use case, but this is typically if you're a new account just starting out where you're hyper investing in your carry. Once you
Okay.
start getting team DPS, Venti starts becoming a big proponent and picture of that.
I'm actually
And then
not
just
getting
run
the
him on a-
Elegy buff on Hu Tao because I'm not doing a charge E on Diona, so I need to change my rollout a bit.
Okay.
I'm only hitting 4 digits for her ult, and it should be around 13, about 130k.
If I have R3 Stringless unbuilt, but built level 80 Elegy, is it worth bothering to switch? Honestly, if you're looking to make Venti do as much damage as possible, yes. If not, depends up to you.
Is Viridescent Hunt's passive useful for Venti? No! You can shoot it into his ults. And so they have mostly fixed the bug where they just take random 5-digit, like, white numbers in his ult. There used to be a bug with Viridescent Hunt and Venti's ult where if you pop Viridescent Hunt in Venti's ult, they'll bounce up and down so much they'll sometimes hit the ground and take like 80k full damage procs. Yeah. However, if you do it towards the end of Venti's ult, you're guaranteed at least one big full damage number from the Venti ult ending and then plummeting to the ground because of Hunt.
Yeah. So you're guaranteed that. So there is that. There's also the fact that the funny thing is, even with my assumed you only get half the effectiveness of Hunt, because Hunt only hits the bottom half of the ultimate, so it only ticks when it pulls them down. But even with that, it still adds enough extra damage that it keeps up with Stringless.
Yes.
Generally at R1 to R1. Once we're going R5
the issue
R5,
is Stringless refines are a thing much more than Hunt refines are right now.
So, like, on lowest investment, 3-line, 55 qualities. Stringless is 108% of Black Cliff. Viridescent Hunt is 105%. We go up to R5. Stringless is 114%.
Those
Viridescent
didn't
Hunt
crit.
is 109%.
Both of those didn't crit.
60-70 good enough for Diona. Personally believe she's best at 70 out of 80, but that's just me. R1 Stringless or R5 Windbloom Ode for Venti or Fischl, 60 out of 70. Build both of them. Doesn't matter who goes with what. I would put Windbloom on Venti just because he gets more out of it versus Fischl. But generally, once you start getting refines for Stringless, Stringless does win out in damage. Is Stringless best in slot for Venti? Given perfect substats for the weapon, yes. However, there are cases where you have crap crit rate. Viridescent
Are you fucking kidding me? That's the second time that's ever happened to me.
Great stream title. Elegy more like hella iffy. Yeah, buddy.
The other pun I've heard is Elegy more like allergy to this weapon banner.
Is that calc assuming Venti has some initial EM? The initial EM Venti has is 20. Which is something, but it's basically 0.
I need to...
Amos or Stringless for Venti? Funny thing is, again, perfect subsets, though at this current point, Amos wants the same exact artifact layout to an extent as Stringless. Amos is like, what is it? They're basically the same, so go for, you're gonna want to go for Stringless over Amos. Stringless beats Amos. R1 Stringless beats Elegy for damage. And you got R5, go for R5. Do you think Amber will be very good with the new bow from the event coming out? If not, who will it be good with it? If you're talking about Ode, the best character to use it on is Venti. Other than that, Fischl's the second best.
My sloppy clears are cutting about 4 seconds with Elegy right now. That's not bad.
No, it's not. How does R5 Stringless fare versus R1 Harp for Venti? Again, it depends. But there's typically, based on my calcs of perfect builds for things, it ranges Here, let me plug these in real quick. Equals. I streamed divided by that. So we're talking between 9%.
Billy churl, Billy churl, silly Billy hilly churl.
And 13%.
Get some coffee in a syringe for the developer's code must happen. It finally loaded. Yep, sounds about right.
So yeah, we're talking between 8 and 13%. R1 harp is better than stringless. Again, assuming correct subsets to make the weapons as good as humanly possible.
Rank cutter.
Can Windbloom be better than R1 VH for Venti or Fischl? For Venti, yes.
Actually, I think I need to reset this. My Hu Tao's not getting.
Why is Fischl going to be good with Ode? Aren't passives only activated after using the elemental skill? Might. But see, the thing is, she takes a snapshot every time she taps her E. So if you re-summon Oz after it summons a projectile, it will get the buff.
Yep.
So it still works. You just got to spend a little extra time up.
It's
with
like
her.
one
It's
extra.
not the
It's one
best.
extra second of. It's
Yeah.
one extra. Actually, the real. I guess the question is too. Will it? That's something that needs to be tested with it when it comes out. Will it work with Oz? Oz ults, because with ults, I'm pretty sure it doesn't snapshot until you leave the bird form and spawn Oz, but the actual initial thunder fall damage might count.
If we're talking Windbloom Ode, I'm pretty sure no.
I forget. Is
Pretty
Windbloom
sure
only on the elemental
Windbloom
skill?
Is on, it's only on pressing the E button, I'm pretty sure is what it's supposed to be.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's the question. If you spend you might
at
require
that
one extra
point,
second of field time, which is
just to
possibly
tap
a
the E
problem.
the second time or the third time, which is, again, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also not the best. After using an elemental skill, receive a boon giving you bonus attack for 6 seconds.
Okay.
So it's going to be probably the second best bow user, but that's only due to no one
The
else.
real question is then, is Fisher going to have to tap E twice after ult to get the buff? On Oz?
Oh, that might be a thing. Oof,
Yeah.
that's 2 seconds.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
However, that might be a problem, which means probably don't use it, but at the same time,
That's something
it's
that has
gonna
to be tested.
finicky.
Yeah. In which case, it might have an argument for just putting on Venti instead.
So Windbloom on Venti is actually good. It's not bad. We're talking it's a little above R1 stringless. It's below R2 stringless. So it's kind of like an R1.5 stringless-ish. Is Rosario carrier support? We don't know!
Probably both.
Let me read
Probably
your brain
not.
outline.
The simple fact that she's a cryo-physical character, like spear character, means she has potential as a Crescent Pike carry no matter what. I forgot to press E, whatever.
Oh no. Windbloom, Elegy, Skyward, R1, or Rust R3 for Child with Hu Tao. I would go Skyward personally.
Rain outlines your
R5 Ode versus R1 Viridescent versus R1 the Stringless on Venti. Depends on your substats, Brad. Like, there is no just it's always better. Because one has crit, one doesn't. What's your crit ratio? Are you 50-100? Are you 20-180? Are you 90-180? Like, until we know what your crit ratio is, we can't say for sure what it's going to wind up being. Because fixing a crit ratio makes crit substats on weapons better. When's the Beidou Guide Showcase, huh?
Oh. Yeah, I was planning on doing that sometime this week, probably. I'm just gonna read off fucking Zanto's Beidou Guide. Yeah, planning on doing that just as like an easier video to make that and help spread some awareness of Beidou's power level. Because she seems, she's probably the most like criminally underappreciated unit in the game, honestly. So I wanted to take a look at that.
Is there going to be another Hu Tao video, Jinx?
Yes.
You're doing 3? Nice.
Yeah, well, because the second one was me doing bare minimum. I still have the script for like teams, because I do want to talk about teams and builds briefly, because it's fucking Crimson Witch 4 or Crimson Witch 2, whatever else, if you're not running Vape. Her builds are very simple, but
I have 2 stringless bows and just pulled a Venti. Is it worth refining? It is worth refining. Depending on if you have a fischl or not and what other bows you have.
Here we go.
And I guess if Dragon Spine Spear will be good for Rosaria, based off initial potential impressions, probably not if you're running her as a carry.
Yeah, if you're running her as a carry, you're probably looking at still Crescent Pike. It's so hard for her. It's so hard for Dragon Spine to ever beat Pike. Pike's a bit overtuned, and Dragon Spine's a bit undertuned.
Oh, there's ways that it can. It's just we need higher motion values than what we think she's going to wind up having.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, is the spear uses, what was it? It has to be something around Diluc level.
It wasn't Diluc. Where was my sheet? Yeah. This is important.
Let me scribe.
Characters? Nope, that's the wrong thing I'm looking at. Having 3 different accounts and 3 different Google accounts open at the same time makes looking through your different Chrome tabs a pain sometimes.
Here we go.
Lol.
Born of ice and frost.
I used to do stuff on my personal, now I have it on the business, but I can't take all the stuff from the personal to the business, and I have some of it still stored there. Okay, character sheets for videos.
Here we go.
Characters. Rosa Parks stuffs.
You're not calling her Rosa Park. Lol.
Let's look for Razor, because I think he's the one that I do the best comparisons to. Razor T6. Rosa. So basically, we have to get Rosa at motion value capabilities, doing about, I think it's 120%.
Fuck, Bennett died right as I fucking killed him.
100% or 130% per hit or more, assuming she gets a couple of like half that for double hits.
Yep.
In order for it to be better. If we're talking about just singular hits and she just hits 5 times, each one is a single hit, which it isn't because she's a pike user. Sucks. Hopefully Inazuma will give us a halberd style pike user where it's just 5 wide sweeping slow
big
hits,
ass, yeah, big ass hits. Yeah. Like slower Hu Tao combo sort of thing.
Yeah, like we're, if she's hitting about 120 to 130%, Dragon Spine Spear is equal to better, depending on what cup you're running, what set you're running, so on and so forth. Just because it has so much more physical percent. The problem being,
It didn't crit, fuck.
That basically means she's going to need motion values much more in line with Razor that hits really fast. Now we're talking Razor at like talent level 6 for her talent level 10s, but she needs that kind of damage in order to defeat Crescent Pikes. Just here's an extra 20% motion value on top of whatever you're doing. Like, Dragon Spine isn't bad. It's not a massive difference. We're talking probably like 2 or 3% difference. So if you have one invested in and no Crescent Pike, take it. Use it.
Although I feel like chances are it's the opposite for most players.
Not part of that opposite.
Lol. Just because Crescent Pike jungling was so popular in the early days.
That makes sense. She was.
Heal me! Heal me!
Is it bad to level up Sackbow, Stringless, Festering Desire to 90? Nah, it depends. I don't see why not. I have a level 90 Sackbow, though it is an R5 Sackbow for Diona, which actually does some...
It's one of those things where I feel like it is just so much infinitely better to level your carry weapons first, but if you have already done that, then yeah, why not?
Yep.
Weapons are like the one thing that no matter who it is, you should probably be leveling the shit up if you can.
I will say,
it's so resin efficient.
I enjoy my Diona critting for 2.5k per paw.
Yep. Mine is, as you can see, just a tiny damage utility bot.
Yeah.
Who's this?
Going.
Oh, it's Heika. Hi, Heika.
Oh, hi, Heika.
Yo, what up, nerds?
What up, nerd? Hooray, we have 2 people to manage stream chat now.
Who said I was managing? I was gonna here to ban people.
That's technically Heika. I've known you for how long? That's how you manage streams. That's how you manage anything. You're the ban hammer.
Unga
Bunga me ban hammer.
Jade and Chong. I don't think it's bad because again, we're talking everything at the end of the day. If it's well invested in and you use rotations right, you're going to be within 20 DPS, 20
To 10.
25% DPS of the top teams.
Yeah, Ganyu's kind of the outlier in that, where you might have something close to a 30 or 40%, because Ganyu is an outlier carry, but it makes sense. It makes sense considering her skill input needed compared to any other team in the game other than Hu Tao's.
Chengling, dude.
Dorian,
Someone
you get it right. It's C20
C20 Zhonglings, yup.
on a non-whale account.
Pat.
Actually,
I mean-
it's still kind of whale.
Little whale. Dolphin.
Yeah,
Little
dolphin
swimmy
account.
dolphin.
Is a sack bow worth running over a stringless on venti? No.
No.
Unless
Just
you
run stringless.
need him to fund the Nanimo character we don't currently have, no.
Yeah,
You
basically.
get his ult back pretty dang quick still, so.
Oh,
Well,
no, that's him himself. I'm talking about another Animo unit.
Ah,
It doesn't
gotcha.
pair very well with Shao. but
I
if
mean,
we
worst
get
case
another
scenario, you just run
Animo-
ER Sands on him and he still hits like a fucking dump truck.
Yes, he does. I know. I run him on ER Sands because I have no attack hourglasses for him. Period.
My Venti has like 145 ER with an attack Sands.
I don't
I mean,
even
he
know what
hit
my
like
Venti is running.
160.
Tony
also
was the one that ran it.
Have you seen my fucking ER, my fucking attacks, my fucking the fucking most roller coaster ride of leveling an artifact I've ever had on my Venera feather?
I have not, but if anybody here has recently watched whatever the guy who takes clips from different Twitch streams on Genshin and puts them all into one big video, I finally got my first clip on it, where I dump a level 20 artifact into a plus 12 cryo goblet, because it has like 3 decent substats on it which I can use, and it rolls completely into flat HP.
Ouch.
It has 1,000 flat HP.
Oh my god, alright.
Wow, that's amazing.
No, so like the stat line is like
This moment will be
attack,
frozen.
element, mastery, crit damage, flat HP, and it basically quad or quinted into flat HP.
That was a really bad run and was still hitting. Was that sub 40? Yeah, 39. Yeah, this
it
is.
it works better with Hu Tao, where you can utilize the buff in one really big nuke.
Yeah, because that's kind of Hu Tao's whole deal. Is she's a big
Yeah.
dump of damage for 9 seconds and then she just fucking dips.
Yet, whereas Diluc is kind of like, I don't care about.
I just
big-"
sustain forever.
Yes.
Oh, what's that? There's cooldown gaps in my supports right now. Guess I'll just normal attack for really good motion value per second. Okay, now I switch back and do Jingcho while Hu Tao's like, oh, it's my third
Also,
rotation. I'm gonna wait
covers-
4 seconds for Jingcho to be ready before I can do Dick.
I want to cover something real quick that
Sure.
you may or may not be preluded to. Prototype Crescent Venti is not bad.
Oh, John Noel,
Why
thank you for
not?
the $5. Thanks for answering my question about Dragon Spine versus Crescent Pike. You're welcome. Thanks, Cleeful.
Funny thing is, if you get Prototype Crescent buff, which is relatively, you don't have to have a fully charged attack. You just gotta hit them. You just gotta hit them with a singular arrow in the charge. As soon as you press R, you go R, hit them in the head, you get the buff. You proc his ultimate. It is potentially better than Stringless.
What if you don't want to think? Just use
Then you go
Stringless.
But if that's all you got, potentially actually has very good merit on it.
This moment will be frozen.
It's not bad. It's the best.
Okay, why is my second ult hitting harder when I should have Elegy on the first ult?
You were below 50%.
Was I that time? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not actually sure if Diona's... I might have to... God, what am I gonna have to do for this rotation to make sure that, like...
Damn,
I don't think Diona's getting her Elegy up for my ult right now.
Does Venti Burst suck power scale with his level? No, it scales with level disparity. So it's the difference between his level and the enemy level. He could be level 1 and still suck, so long as the enemies he's fighting are lower than level 20.
Maybe I have
It's
to
the
do like
disparity.
Maybe I have to do like a full Hu Tao rotation first. I don't think I'm getting the Elegy buff on my ult.
That might be the thing. Clay, is it worth it to get Venti C1 for next year to get his C2 for a free-to-play? Possibly, but in truth, I don't want to say so, because C1's so bad. It's the only reason I'm not pulling his banner at all, is because I don't want to have to fork out the cash that I did for Ganyu C1 in order to guarantee C2. And even then, C2's not that big of an increase versus Ganyu C2. If you're a whale, by all means go ahead, but just not for me.
I might have to fuck my rotation a little bit to give enough time for Elegy to proc on Diona. It's not procking fast enough. I might have to do one full N3C first on Hu Tao.
Still be with a level 90 prototype crescent. See, that's the thing, is you're mainly looking at the crit ratio. If you're comparing it to an equivalent stringless, generally, I'd need to see what your attack percentage stats are before stuff. So, like, it depends, but there's potential there. And even if it's not better, it's really close. What's the best 4-star weapon on Venti support? It depends on your substats.
Dodge this.
Stringless is the most generic option, but there are cases for Black Cliff, Violet, Viridescent Hunt, Prototype Crescent, and Royal Bow to all be better. And yes, Royal Bow can also get up there. It is entirely dependent on your crit ratio.
Yeah, Royals are such fucking weird weapons.
Especially, the funny thing is in theory, Royal is the strongest weapon for him in the game if you get all of the stacks on it and you have like 300 crit damage. Because then you just snapshot the stacks and lol, strongest Venti ult.
Yep, but that is a challenge to get.
It is, and Skyward Harp exists.
Yeah, also that.
Alley Hunter should be good too. Alley Hunter's probably going to be his best in the slot. Is Zhongli more valuable than Venti if your team has enough DPS? That's up to you.
Witness the power of Guhua. Rain outlines your...
Frozen enemies count as being affected by Hydro and Cryo like Electrocharge? No. They count as being Cryo. However, if you hit them with Hydro after they've been frozen, they can then be counted as having Hydro. It's weird and finicky how it works. That sounds so cool but hard to pull off. I know, right?
Free.
The Great Genshin War has begun.
Oh, what's it about this time?
No idea. Simona, high refined
Jack.
map of Mario R4 or R1 Width?
I thought the Great Genshin Archon War was when we were arguing Zhongli needed buffs.
We have been challenged by
There's another
Mihoyo.
one out?
Calling all leakers, we have been challenged by Mihoyo.
Lol. I think the Great Genshin War is how many emergent game mechanics can we discover before Mihoyo removes all of them. Rip Thunderclap Flash, Dragon Strikes on the chopping block, so is Super Vape.
I don't want to say it's on the chopping block, but there's potential.
I had heard that it was on the chopping block,
No,
but
so the current thing on the chopping block is that there was a current bug where if during an attack animation while standing still, you can hit the jump button and immediately plunge attack.
oh, so that's not Dragon Strike. Okay.
No. However, they have stated in the patch notes other things with similar like effects they're currently looking at.
Okay, so they might get rid of Dragon Strike.
My sword.
But for now, so far as I'm aware, they are not doing Dragon Strike specific.
This moment will be frozen.
What level is optimal for Kai's support weapons? Depends on your main DPS weapons. As high as you can possibly get it after you get your main DPS's weapon up. My current Kaya support has a level 80 Black Sword. Partly because it's a hand-me-down from Bennett, but hey, he has a level 80 Black Sword.
Cool it.
Which means he has 123 crit rate.
Time to go.
I'm just so lazy. They just run level 70s on people.
I mean, it works.
Yeah.
A level is also... Cleeful, would Jing Cho be stronger with Jade Cutter plus ER Sands or Sack Sword with Attack Sands? If you have R3 or above Sack Sword, a Sack Sword with Attack Sands. He's in a comp with Hu Tao, Mona, and Zhongli. Unless you're funneling Mona's energy, which is super weird because it only comes at the end of it, into him, you're not going to get enough on Jade Cutter.
Yeah, unless you're doing a one rotation wipe, which is kind of the
Unless you're doing one rotation, which is possible, but like...
hard. You need a lot of investment for that. It's funny how much of a difference 1 and 2 rotation wipes are from like 3 and 4.
Yeah.
It just removes so many issues. Ooh,
You're saying you're at
spooky.
132% attack. copy these so that I can copy them back in. So you're on
Ring cutter.
100.
No,
where
my
are you?
sword. No, my sword.
132, so
Look at you, loser. Think you
1.32.
can bully me?
Oh, the thing is I can plug that in, but it's just going to show up as even better than what
It's over.
Is it? Might not. 60, 0.63, 1.35. Technically, in
Well, rip.
theory,
Ring cutter.
Oh.
Rain outlines me.
Hey, Tony, what's up?
Bully can't handle your
Freeze.
Tony.
This moment will be frozen.
Higher, pants on fire.
I like how I have to moderate that show.
Yeah, so it's still worse to have the extra C6 Diona EM than it is to just be below 50% HP on my Hu Taos. Still, this is definitely pushing my average times close further. So it's a place that it works pretty well. I still don't think Elegy is at all worth pulling for, but this is definitely a use case for it.
Are your substats wrong, or is this common? It's just dependent on what your substats are. It's possible, but at the same time, it's not calculating EM damage, which is where Viridescent Hunt makes it back up. Because, like, I can tell you right now, looking at the numbers that I have in front of me, zoom in, please, so I can actually see this. Viridescent Hunt on a level 90 Viridescent Hunt on a level 90 Venti is doing a total damage on its own of 11 plus 31 is 42, 52, 50 is doing about 57,000 damage. Whereas you're getting around 51,000 on stringless. However,
this is a hell of a friendship comp right now. What the fuck?
However, stringless is getting 10,000 more damage from swirl than Viridescent Hunt is.
Hey, boo.
So since it's not counting for swirl damage, Hunt is always going to come out better in that particular calculator and gamer.
BRB.
On unknown
do you think?
person, for your specific stuff, Prototype Crescent can potentially be good. I wouldn't say it's his best in slot. It depends on if, let's say, you have an R5 stringless, because stringless scales so well. Also, it depends on if you land those headshots. You need to land those headshots, and you need to spend not a lot of time doing it. So it's a much higher skill ceiling weapon as well.
They upped the max cap for condensed, right?
Yes, it's 5 now.
Oh, thank God.
Putting Skyward Blade as the other 5-star is just cruel. It's a really good weapon. Give it to Bennett. This roll damage difference is not accounted. No, it is not. Out of Skyward Blade or Elegy, which should you rather pull? I would rather pull Skyward Blade, to be honest, myself. That's just because I don't have a use for Elegy, period. How good is R5 Harbinger of Dawn on Albedo versus a 5-star weapon? If you have Jade Sword, it's worse. Otherwise, it's better. Unless you're exclusively trying to do one-shot memes with Venti in massive AoE scenarios with his ultimate, but those are things we don't normally talk about. Why do shields take damage during iframes from elemental burst? Wait, they do. Oh. I have 2 Skyward Blades. I know. I want more. I want refinements. Make my Fizz Bennett do more damage. How good is R5 Windbloom Ode on Venti? Optimal to optimal. Windbloom Ode is stringless 1.5. Refinement 1.5. Just pulled a cool. That was my first 5-star sword, but I gave Bennett his C6, laughing my ass off. RIP. You can still use it on him. Just the teams he goes on is different. How good is C5 Beta with Skyward Pride? Works well with C0 Child? Yes. C1 Venti main DPS? Bad. It's not horrible, but it's not amazing.
Just use someone else, please.
You're trying to be Gone you and not doing all that well at it. 2 shards of Foul Legacy just now. Nice. Can we speak of leaks in this chat? No idea.
I believe they don't want to for the time being. MiHoYo did just post out a thing saying, don't talk about leaks for the time being.
Yeah, I'd definitely go along with that. End user license agreement and all.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because that's also code. R2 Dragon's Bane, R1 Deathmatch for Hu Tao. If you're going vape, I'd say R2 Dragon's Bane, but it does depend on your substats. Again, most of these weapons are within a close enough gap that it depends on your substats. Go use the calculator.
Do you have the link for that?
I believe it should
Where's
just
it?
be down in the description.
Master spreadsheet, data gathering Discord server.
Okay, I'm back.
Do you want to Jinx
Yeah.
in the description of the or just your general copy paste the descriptions from now on? Do you want to throw in the link to the
Calculator.
the calculator?
The Genshin Optimizer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sure. Is it not in there? It should be.
at least not in the one that you currently have up.
Wanna come
Oh,
don't
yeah.
see it at
Upload
all.
defaults for live is different. All right. Let me
Okay.
see. Upload
Yeah,
defaults.
just go use that, and it'll do the best it can to try and figure out what's good for you. For Cryo Domain, which team is better, Diluc, Jingcho, Bennett, Zhongli, or Diluc, fischl, Bennett, Zhongli?
Son of a
Diluc,
bitch is
Jingcho,
not in here.
Cryo Domain.
Cleeful Frames channel. Genshin Optimizer calculator.
R5 Wizards versus R1 Skyward Atlas on Klee, R1 Skyward Atlas, unless you've got really jacked crit ratios.
Then we gotta copy these.
Or
over.
are aiming for 1 rotations, which means you're trying to get things done in 9 seconds.
And then
Our
That is
five-
overkill, but a lot of fun.
Bonk.
we go to
During the 9
this.
seconds. Having trouble staying alive in Abyss with Chow. My team comp is Diona official Super Chow. Should I try Noelle? She's C5 but not built. I would just invest more in Diona. Sounds like you need more healing and more shield, which means more Diona.
Save. Bada boom, bada bing. All right.
Didn't hear my answer?
Silly Billy Hilly Churl. Woo. Continue.
I have R2 stringless on Venti. Venti has poop artifact, and an R1 refinement 150 if you have a battle pass weapon to pull for as Virdus and Hunt worth to upgrade Venti and pass a now R3 to fischl.
Is upon you.
I would probably go Virdus
God,
and
I
Hunt
can't
on
see
one of
anything.
them and R3 to the other. Just who would get what? I would give Venti Vera stringless
I
personally.
can fix this.
He gets more out of it.
Next up.
So give Venti R3 and give fischl Virdus and Hunt. Venti has 55, 90. Should I use Blackcliff Warbow for higher crit damage? It'd be nice, and that's probably the better of the two, but it's probably fairly close between them. It's not jacked. You don't have 80 crit rate, 90 crit damage. Hello, Jenny.
Gleeful
Oh, I don't
says
think
hello,
you can hear me.
Jenny. Oh wait, I have yet to master these new dishes. It's time for cooking.
Cooking stream.
Cooking. Look at this golden chicken burger. Oh, please tell me.
James,
I was
swear-
hoping that like Diluc or Noelle would have a specialty dish for this. Ripperoni.
I swear, you could just actually like put in like a streaming setup in your kitchen and do a cooking stream. And do
I
that.
could. I just don't have a camera for it. I've considered it. I just don't have a camera for it right now.
Time to invest.
Yeah, no, I was looking at some lower end cameras. There's one I found I kind of like that's like 200-300. Because I'm not really, don't think I'm willing to drop 600 for a low end DSLR right now.
My personal recommendation, if you don't mind going used, to look see if you can find yourself a used Sony A5100.
Yeah,
Same one that
that's
Tuna has?
that's the one Tuna was recommending to me too. I'm like, new, these are like 650. So
New, they're 650. Used, you can find them for like 350.
really, okay. There's one I found that had like its own built-in, what's it called, gimbal, with head
Oh.
tracking, and I thought that might be nice. It's like 200. It's like 200 4K.
Playful, is it better to build Diona with HP for shield strength or HP healing bonus for better healing? I'd go HP healing bonus, but my personal opinion and how I'm designing, I haven't got the artifacts for her to do it, but how I'm designing
Fragrant mashed potatoes.
My specific Diona is I'm going ER cryo damage healing bonus with a focus on trying to get HP substats across everything.
So I discovered I was not a master cooker a while ago because there were actually 3 recipes I was missing because they're from random ass like people you don't even know sell shit in the world map.
Yeah.
There's a Julian Guaba that you get from the mill lady over in Qingxi village. Very good. That's at the incels
it's
one.
Not bad. It's just my personal preference is making Diona do what she does best, which is being like a kind of jack of all trades.
Yep, I just stick instructors on her so she has even more utility for team.
Yep. Whereas I'm trying to build Diona as good as Diona can be because I like Diona.
Yep, I mean if you really want her charge E like MV is not that bad. It's like what 580 or something at T6. So it's not that bad. I just personally run her as a low field time utility bot.
Which makes sense.
But I also focus a lot more on like hyper carry stacks because those are just the cheapest ones to build.
Do you solve the issue of Venti pulling enemies out of range? Don't use Venti.
Yeah, that's his whole deal.
Yeah. The other thing is to keep him low level, but you're losing out on a lot of what Venti does, and there's other Animo units that can fill his role and not have that issue.
Yep.
Well, only one, Sucrose, but we should get more eventually.
Yep.
I'm hoping we eventually get an Animo auto attacker that just kind of like sucks things in towards their autos as you attack. So kind of like a Xiao with normals, but the normals have the suction effect.
By the way,
go
ahead.
So that you know, do the normal stuff. Essentially, self Veer doesn't hunt passive, just on an Animo unit.
By the way, guys, y'all should all go to YouTube and go to YouTube. And then you put I didn't save the fucking upload defaults. Fuck. Okay. You put in Cleeful frames, right? You shop for a really nice mahogany frame, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a good investment. Looks nice. It'll last a long time. Go ahead and display your your waifu, and then you go to Cleeful Frames and you hit subscribe and you watch his videos because they're all really good videos. All right, guys. Cool.
Go check him out.
That's the guy answering all your questions in stream right now. Thank him by subscribing to him and go follow him on Twitch and stuff too. He does testing streams. He does testing streams much more frequently than I do. Because I stream like once a month.
And the funny thing is, I do less testing streams than Jinx. A lot more of the time, the only testing I do is because I'm working on a spreadsheet for a character.
Yeah, but
so when I do spreadsheet, I test Klee, but otherwise I'm making Klee spreadsheet to give the appropriate information. More like ma agony.
Ma agony.
What if I'm already subbed to him?
Well,
then you did good.
Then go to every one of his video and like it and leave a comment saying Jinx told me to do this because it helps the SEO.
I want to see how many people we wind up getting with comments. Just Jinx told me to do this.
Go to every video and you say Jinx told me to do this because it makes the SEO better when there's more comments.
Thank you 5 people for subscribing on my Twitch.
Yeet.
Hey, yo, nice.
Not big enough.
I already like and comment on every Cleeful video. Yes, you do, Cars.
Good.
How does the
They deserve the attention.
8 damage for Diluc. I felt like it almost gives a 1.5x damage, even though not all his attacks vape. Because the attacks that do vape have EM, which means they do more than 1.5 damage. So it averages out close to 1.5.
But yeah.
I'm just waiting for Cleeful streams to use my prime from tuners on him.
Now, mind you, it's gonna calculate specifically just the vape damage.
Yeah.
So Diluc does not get all of that, but he gets a lot of it. Diluc generally in a proper combo vapes 5? 5. He vapes 5 of his 7 hits in his lead
Oh,
combo.
yay! All those shoutouts means I'm gonna have to go give gift subs.
Haha!
Well, the thing is I got raided. I did a Monday stream. I got raided, but I can't remember the name of the guy. I'll find it. Give me a second. Hopefully, it saves that stuff. I got raided by a guy named Lost in the World. Don't know if you know of him.
I do not, but I also don't really know a lot of streamers.
Yeah. Raid party was 448 people.
Oh wait, shit,
And-
Mona doesn't have...
And we were at.
Oh no, I have no way to
1,200
heal. Eat fish.
followers.
Run and eat fish. Ah, shit.
We hit 400. We hit 1,450. We got almost 200 followers at
Decided
that
by
point.
destiny.
I set a little bit of an ambitious goal, where normally I was gifting 5 subs for 1,500. But if that one day where I got all the raids, we managed to get it up to 1,500 from 1,200, I was going to give 20.
Access
Oh,
denied.
I see.
Shadows of fate.
If stream tonight we hit it, I might give 10 instead of 5. Depends. I'll have to go check my wallet.
You know, I just realized I haven't tested any of my Keck teams in 12.3. Might do that
What
later.
are the optimal combinations for 2 teams using these characters with Invest? Diluc, Xingqiu, Venti, Sucrose, Bennett, Zhongyun, Ganyu, Diona, Chengling. I would go Diluc, Xingqiu, Sucrose, Bennett on team 1, Ganyu, Zhongli, Diona, Chengling, or Venti team 2.
I would maybe say Zhong instead of Sucrose on the Luke team. It's a lot easier to run if you aren't willing to really like min-max your rotations on Sucrose.
Yeah, but also at the same
And you're also
time,
running
Ganyu.
double shield on Ganyu at that point.
Fair. So, I mean, if you're running Diona, then yeah, use Zhong and replace the Sucrose. And then in that team, you're going...
Sucrose's ceiling is
Ganyu,
higher.
you're
It's just a
going-
nightmare to get the micro
You're
right.
going Ganyu, Diona, Chengling, and Sucrose. There you go. Put Sucrose on the Ganyu team.
Easy, yeah.
VV the Cryo. Just make Ganyu do more damage.
Yup, basically. And Ganyu is very worth making just do more damage.
What's your opinion on the 1.5 leaks controversy and them trying to censor and sue said leakers? In truth, I think it's completely within their legal rights to be
Totally,
able to do so.
yeah, totally within
There
their
is a
rights to
thing
do
called
so.
an NDA,
Yep.
non-disclosure agreement. So yes, it's legal.
Yeah, there's a reason why you're supposed to sign NDAs.
Yeah.
Like, there is a thing to be said that companies can choose to allow leaks to be a thing because it's free promotion for them.
Yep.
But at the same time, you run into issues like a big part of the reason the Zhongli controversy happened is because he got nerfed.
Yeah.
He got
And a little
nerfed
bit-
while still in beta, and people knew about the nerfs because of leaks, and that was a big part of the reason why there was so
and
much
then
drama.
and then though I mean, to an extent, the drama wasn't going to change. It was going to wind up happening regardless of if he got nerfed or if he.
It
was
just
in
would
that
have probably not have been as bad.
It wouldn't have been as bad over here, but what caused it? Again, not going to go cover into it too much. You can go find sources for it
Yep.
elsewhere. But what actually caused them to go back on the word saying they weren't going to buff him had to deal with Chinese legal system.
Yeah, that's yeah, fair.
Born of ice and frost.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And there's literally nothing we can do.
it's completely understandable if they want to
Next on our
control,
agenda.
and it's put to
Yeah.
completely within their rights. And I don't know.
Honestly, I
Doesn't-
feel people
yeah.
would be much more okay with it if they were more willful in how they leaked or released characters over time.
Born of
So,
ice
like,
and
they would
fire,
announce
that's
the
lapis.
characters that have been announced for us for 1.5. If they announce
in the
them now,
stars.
saying, "Hey, look, we're looking at making these 2 new characters," gave no details on them other than throw this character, throw this name, and maybe they use this weapon. That's it, and they spread it out more. Then you could probably get more people on board with agreeing on just, hey, no leaks.
Yep.
Because the main reason people crave so much for leaks right now isn't so that they want to know what things do. The main
It's a
problem
lack
is
of information.
they have no idea about what's coming out until basically that patch is coming out. It's
Yeah,
like,
and that's hugely problematic for free-to-play players who wants to pre-farm anyway.
This game also doesn't have clairvoyance on it with separated out times for servers.
Yep.
A lot of gacha games have that feature.
You have a year clairvoyance because of previous because of
So
other
even then,
servers.
that doesn't help, because typically games like that, you'll get global exclusive units that never existed on JP.
Mm-hmm. Just like that KFC skin in Arkanites. I'm still waiting for that. Probably never gonna get it though. Anyways, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, Genshin.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I was instead going to say like that one gacha game that came out in NA and went away not even a year later. Maggia record.
Something's
Oh, that one? Yeah.
Funny enough, JP's finally committed to bringing over all the global exclusive units to JP because Global's now dying and a lot of people from Global are moving over to JP. So the company, smart as they are, aren't cracking down on the people who are playing JP when they're not in JP, because you're technically not supposed to do that, but are instead catering towards them in order to make their player base bigger. There's no content. It's the only thing keeping some players in the game are leaks. 100%.
Yep.
But at the same time, it doesn't cover the whole point that it's partly Mihoyo's fault that the leaks are coming out as sporadically and as fervently as they are. I mean, they're always going to exist. Someone in your company is going to leak something somewhere at some point in time.
It's just up to the community to how far they would take those leaks is the thing too.
In gachas. I mean, like, there's the whole current EU debacle with things even beyond leaks, but that's like, if leaks exist almost everywhere, it just, unless you're a small indie studio or somehow run an amazingly tight ship, it's very difficult to get no leaks or very, very minimal or just purely controlled ones.
Yep.
A lot of leaks are from data miners and not from beta testers themselves, but that doesn't mean anything because they got access to data they shouldn't otherwise technically have access to.
Leaks are leaks.
Yep. And data mine leaks are depending on how they would the the end user agreement are not necessarily allowed.
Oscar, thank you very much for the $12.50 donation. If I don't see you in stream tonight, have yourself a good night.
Hey, Oscar.
Oh boy.
Oh, this motherfucker.
Speaking of, I also need to go back and do more Bait and Kaita streams. That'll be Friday. The EU, yes, the end user license agreement.
Yep, end user
Welcome.
license agreement.
You
Keck.
guys don't know what we're talking about? It's the greatest joke I've ever put in this community, and the name's sticking, and I'm happy about it.
Keck.
Someone's asking what your stats are.
Let's
If you want to
see.
show.
That's all the commissions done.
I honestly think at this point that the existence of that is entirely a meme in and of itself.
People asking what my Hu Tao stats are. I'm not a big fan of showing my stats on units because at the end of the day, your best set is dependent on your own artifact rolls and your own weapons and everything. So like,
It's RNG.
yeah, so like me showing you that my Hu Tao is hitting like, because the thing is like my build is not necessarily a typically recommended one because I run an HP Sans on Vape, but that's because I have 168 EM from substats. And in a lot of cases, a deathmatch Hu Tao would rather run an EM Sans.
When are we getting a unit called TC or NBA?
That would be funny.
That would be fantastic.
That would be very good. Hey, Tuner, what's up?
Hey, Tuner.
How's
Hello?
you doing?
Hello? Hello? I will probably actually be ending stream fairly soon, though, if you also still wanted to stream tonight, Tuner. We were just doing some quick Elegy polls and testing, and at this point, I'm pretty much through with the Elegy testing I wanted to get done today.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you even pulled for it.
I mean, like I said, it unlocks new comps. The question is whether those new comps are even worth using with an R1, which so far it's seeming like they really aren't. It's just kind of so far the best use case for like non-speedrun shits I've seen. We've tested is that it's nice on Diona for a Hu Tao freeze.
The only thing I've been interested in is Alley Flash for Bennett Chongyun.
Yeah, Alley Flash is nice, although you do have to not get hit, but it's definitely gonna live on my Bennett once I can farm up the Ascension mats for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bennett Freeze should be not getting hit at least every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much, and it's basically a better Iron Sting for him, so.
Yeah. Iron Sting finally. Generally, I will say it goes bye-bye, though there might be a case for it still, just due to how much it gives. But it's dependent.
What was I doing next? I forgot. Alright, probably just go ahead and end stream here then, since at this point we finished up with testing. I need to get some food anyway. But Cleeful, are you still going to be streaming Cleeful?
I am going to be streaming tonight, probably. Depends on how long Tuner goes, but I typically start stream in about 6 or 7 hours. So typically start about 11 or 12 at my time, which is 6 or 7 hours from now. We will be doing Genshin stuff, just gameplay, doing all the normal things, and I think I will be working more on Venti sheet. We'll have to wait and see. So if you guys want to turn out, then by all means go ahead. I shall say hi to you and answer whatever questions you have to the best of my ability. Is it
Go check him out.
Legit sucrose? Yes, It's basically sucrose condensed into a bow.
But yeah, Elegy, I guess final thoughts on Elegy. Definitely not worth a poll. Has specific use cases. It's kind of a whale weapon, to be completely honest.
Wish it was a catalyst instead.
Yeah, basically. It's strong in its use cases. But there's very few use cases for non-whales, really. So, definitely would not recommend pulling for it. If you happen to have it, it's nice on Hu Tao melt. And it's nice on... But it does kind of seem to need refinements if you want it to be worth other slots. Like using it on Amber or Diona in the Diluc team did not really seem to produce better results than just running Sucrose, Alfredo, or Zhongli instead. And it's a 5-star weapon. So definitely would not recommend pulling for it, but it does have use cases. Definitely a whale weapon.
Money, fruit, drop rates are trash and only beneficial to content creators who can literally spend as much as they want on each character. Hey, I'm a content creator and I can't.
Well,
so I'm also kind of small. Like, just because you're a content creator doesn't mean you can spend money on anything and everything you want.
Yep.
It's expensive.
Especially because tax deductibles are only tax deductions from the income you're making related to Genshin. Unless you're in Australia. Australia lets you book losses for the first 2 years of a business, so... Or lets you deduct losses from other income sources, so...
And that's also just for the first 2 years.
Yep, for the first 2 years. Then you just start a new business. Australia might be a really good place to loan the money.
With the wind.
But yeah.
Probably already is.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. For like someone like myself, because my career and like my main income source is from YouTube, I can... As long as I'm not hitting like over 25%, I can just tax deduct stuff, but that's not necessarily the case for all content creators. A lot of them, this is like a side gig hobby, where they're not going to be able to deduct enough to make up all the losses.
Yeah, for those of you who do want to join me, my YouTube is...
Link is right there in the chat.
Playful Frames.
There's that, and then same username, just on Twitch.tv. You also find the link in basically every one of my video descriptions.
Yep. I don't know if Tuner is planning on streaming tonight or not. Are you, Tuner?
Probably.
Yeah, so Tuner will also be streaming.
There for
Go check both of them out.
Yep, check them both out.
Zhao Venti, Bennett Zhongli, Team 2, Hu Tao, Jingcho, Mona, fischl. Would I change anything? Try and replace Venti with Sucrose if possible. Venti doesn't pair well with Zhao, and that's the only issue there.
Alright, I guess final thoughts as well. We already talked about Elegy, but final thoughts. Wine and Song is for running around the map really fast. Also, it's probably better on some Catalyst users than free-to-play options, but Witsith and Solar Pearl still exist. And are better. I cannot think of an actual use case for it if you have a Witsith or a Solar Pearl. Or a Fav Codex for less damagey Catalyst supports. And Alley Flash seems pretty good on Bennett, and possibly a Kaya support, but it does require you to not get hit. But it's a fucking base attack stat stick, so pretty neat. Yeah, I think that's it for that stuff. So, we're hopping off now. But thank you all for joining us today. Remember, Clayful and Tuner are going to be streamings later. I'm gonna go get some food, and then probably work on a different...
for Turbo fischl? No. I
No.
have a video on it, though people, even though I've went and said the only thing that triggers it, you don't need constellations, you don't need anything, people still don't care.
Yep. But yeah, anyway, happy waifu hunting whalers. We'll see you next time. Oh wait, real quick, thank you to Lost in the World, Tevi, Mauricio Hercules, Brian Levy, Tanakra, I'm Jovel, and John Knoll for donating for the donations today. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. All of that is going in the Goth GF fund.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
You appreciate it.
But that's going in the Goth GF fund for Rosaria, and yeah, that's it. Happy life of hunting whalers. We'll see you next time in the next video, and I have no idea what I'm going to stream next, but I'll probably do a tier list stream at some point because people seem to like that. All right. Bye.